Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of the Slappin Kpop podcast. We're all here. It's all of us.
Woo!
Yay!
For the first time this year.
Back together again.
This is probably
Somehow
for the first time this year, and maybe the only time
the first
this
and only
year.
time the entire year. Yes.
Probably.
I'm gonna
Let's
be honest.
be
Spoiler alert. Like 80% chance. The only time this year.
Yep.
This
well,
is so hard.
Maybe at the end of the year for
no,
the
because we didn't even get everyone together for last year's awards.
Well, that's what I'm saying. We can splice it together again. We'll splice.
But it's our 1 year anniversary, so we're in podcast
Guys, we've been doing
anniversary
this for a year.
Happy birthday, podcast.
This is the most committed relationship I've ever been in.
And
yeah, it's
Same.
literally been a year.
oh my god.
Okay, don't call me out.
Same.
Oh my god, that hurts.
We're
calling
kidding.
all
I'm
each other
kidding.
out.
We're calling each other out.
Stereotype. We are the stereotype.
So
We are.
So
I apologize.
To move on
I
from this very
apologize.
sad realization, we all have new profile pictures now, which is fun, and
Woo.
they're all aesthetically pleasing
Woo.
together, which is also fun.
Look at
Yeah,
the
look
Look
boy.
at them.
Good
I am
boy.
the Holy Spirit of Sunmi. Whoa.
Exciting.
Whoa.
We'll have those probably.
Can I complain about finding pictures of Mingyu? That man is a model, and I cannot find a single 4K image of him. This was
What the hell?
the only images that exist of him that are higher than like 480p or like dispatch. And it's
That's
like,
That's
what?
unfortunate.
I don't
That
want a
is
dispatch
bullshit.
image for Mingyu. It's like, and sadly I had to pick
Yeah.
one. But you know,
Whoa.
because it's the only
Alright.
ones that exist, and I was very upset. But anyway, he's still hot.
Anyway.
I don't know.
Hey, I had a lot of very high quality photos of my
Yeah.
boy.
Wow,
Your
so
boy,
hard.
you're the most famous boy in China.
Hell yeah. Hell
So
yeah.
for our 1 year anniversary episode, we figured it would be fitting to do the least related thing to the podcast humanly possible. So
have we talked? When have we
Probably.
talked about K-pop on this
I mean, we at
podcast?
least
Real.
stick to
A
like
couple
K-pop
times.
adjacent, kind of
Twice.
K-pop adjacent, but now we're just like, let's talk about like Western media, and that's the anniversary episode.
Why not?
So
Because it'd be a lie to say we weren't influenced by any of that in any
yeah,
sort of
so
way.
No.
Let's
this
be
is
real here.
styled in the old way of a quarter podcast. Everyone has their top 3 topics in Western media. The like
It was hard enough to find 3. We couldn't.
the
do
categories are gonna have a very wide range, and some of them are gonna be very just like
5. Broad,
very broad, so broad.
and some of
Not
them are
specific.
very.
Some of them are
specific.
very specific, but you get a wide range of that in this episode.
Yeah, this will be a fun time. You get to see all of our other
Because we
interests,
realize a lot of the
essentially.
stuff that all of us do is like we consume a lot of Asian media, and it was like, well, let's
A lot of
take a
Asian
step
media.
away from that for a second, and let's do Western media. See how that goes.
And surprisingly, we consume a lot of similar Western media too. There's a little bit of
Oh, yeah.
crossover.
I mean, there's a reason
And
we're
some
friends.
unique connections, which we'll get into later.
Oh yes,
between
that'll
some
be.
of
I
us.
mean,
so
there's
fun.
I mean, it's not just our connection to K-pop that made us all be friends.
Mhm.
It's we all have very similar interests outside of that as well.
Yes.
All right, so I guess who shall take it away first? Kayla?
Yeah, sure.
Potentially?
So, my first topic here is gonna be the Try Guys, and
Love
I
them.
love them so much. They've described like themselves, and like a lot of the fans describe them as being essentially the Wiggles, but for adults. And I think that's like a just perfectly accurate description of like what they are and the type of media they create, because they're really the only sort of like typical YouTubers that I have continued to follow for like many years now, and I just think they're so funny. They do so much like interesting creative stuff with their channel. I love their like Without a Recipe and like Keith Eats the Menu and like just all sorts of like the random content they do. I listen to their podcast all the time, and like I own their book, and I just think they're great people, and they've been making great content for years, even back when they were at BuzzFeed, but it's just gotten even better and better since they left BuzzFeed and were sort of just given their own creative control over their stuff. But I enjoy them immensely.
It's crazy because, like, I remember they're like that and Tasty are
Yeah.
like really the only
Yeah.
BuzzFeed videos I've ever enjoyed.
Yeah.
Is like whenever those guys are featured. So yeah, I mean, props to them for being able to still continue to have a career online. I think one of them too, in particular, he went to like some engineering school?
Oh, Ned.
Ned went to Yale.
Ned went to
Yeah, Ned.
went to Yale.
Yeah.
Look at that. Even people from Yale.
Ned
can
went to
have
Yale and has
successful
like a degree in
careers
chemistry, and now is where
And now is like
yeah.
getting drunk at an Easter egg hunt, and getting very aggressive.
You know what? If
Very
it makes
aggressive.
him happy, you know what? There you go. He can do both. He got a degree at Yale, and now he's a notable internet personality.
And father
Father
of two.
as well.
Oh yeah, that's a second kid. Oh, good
Second
for him.
kid, yeah.
Is he the only one with kids so far?
Yes.
Still.
Yeah,
Okay.
that we know of.
Yeah. Well, I feel
Fair
like we
enough.
would know if like Keith had a child. Like I feel like we would.
We
know,
would.
Yeah.
We would, but you know.
Yeah, I used to watch them a little bit because what did I watch first? I think my first video I watched of them was when they redid Eugene's car.
Oh
'cause he
my
was
god, I
going
love
new.
that. Yeah.
That video
I love
was the
that
first
episode
video I
so
watched
much.
of theirs, which was great. Big fan.
Yeah.
And then I
Yes.
think I pretty much watched them because I just fell in love with Eugene.
I love
because he is
Eugene.
me.
Eugene is
I
amazing.
love
Eugene is
him.
great.
He is an icon of our time. And then I watched his coming out video, and I literally like cried for like 10 minutes.
Yeah, I also really
And-
love what the Try Guys are like doing with their platform in terms of like being
Mhm.
like on a very they're like because Eugene in particular has been like very
Yeah.
supportive like LGBTQ
Yeah.
plus community, and like they also when
Boop,
around
boop.
the election time were very much like this is why you should vote, and with coronavirus stuff have also tried to put out a lot of informational videos for everyone
Mm. Yeah.
with all like the fake information going around the internet. So I do also really appreciate
Yeah.
all of that stuff they've been doing as well, because I think they don't have to be doing that with their platform, but they're taking extra time to like be informative and everything. I really appreciate that too.
Yeah, I love them. I think I enjoy their like specific projects as opposed to them as people as much. So I definitely like every once in a while I'll check in and be like, ooh, that's a cool project. Like my favorite thing ever was them doing making what is it, their fashion episode where they like had to make
Just
dresses
make
and
pants
stuff.
Oh,
and they did
dresses.
dresses, pants,
It
and
was-
like plushies.
The pants
as
one
a,
was I love the pants one so
I
much.
think I only watched the
the-
dresses
there's-
one.
That
which
whole
was
series is
god-tier
great.
content.
Yeah.
the whole series
was
is
amazing.
amazing.
I maybe needed. I didn't know it was a whole series. I thought it was
Yeah.
just
They
like
do
the.
pants, they do dresses,
They
and
do-
then plushies.
They do stuffed animals.
Yeah.
Yeah, stuffed animals.
Oh, okay. Maybe I need to go watch that right now.
Yeah.
Anyway, yeah, they're really sick. They're really fun.
Yeah.
I like them.
Yeah, I think one of my favorites is, I mean, from back when they were at BuzzFeed, I love that first Without a Recipe where they made bread.
Oh,
It
that's
was
I love
Oh,
Without a
hilarious.
Recipe so much.
Love it. Love that whole series. And I also love them trying to drive their cars drunk and high.
Oh, and like
That
Oh
is
my
also
God,
very
that
good.
was
yeah, that series
amazing.
is great.
That just sounds like a disaster waiting. to
I mean,
happen.
it
It-
was.
that's
I mean,
the
it
point.
was. It was
At least
all,
being drunk.
It was
like-
meant
it
to
was
be
all on.
informative.
It was all
yeah.
safe and on a track, but it was hilarious
Right.
to see.
Yeah, they just had
Oh,
to do
okay,
it. It was
okay.
like how bad is driving drunk and high versus
drunk, high,
And then it was like
texting,
they
and
stayed up for like
tired,
36 hours
Yeah.
straight or something. Yeah.
Yeah, they were awake for 30. Yeah, they were, and then texting,
Mhm.
which
Yeah.
is just
You know.
So
yeah.
they had like a driving school-esque thing, and they had to do it a bunch of times with all of the things, and then how bad is it?
Mhm.
And moral of the story, it's
bad.
Don't
do
it.
any of those things.
While driving. Don't be tired.
Nope.
Don't be drunk, high, or
Yeah.
text while doing
Mhm.
it.
Yep. I've driven tired, and it was a terrible idea.
Oh yeah, I've driven
Yeah,
tired
I've
a
also
lot.
done that, but we don't
More
need to
than
talk
I'd like
about
to.
it. It's
Yeah,
fine.
no,
Try
it's
not to
awful.
drive tired.
No,
ever. It's
driving
tough,
tired-
man. I'll tell you that.
It was especially back when I was in college, and I was just like, I don't remember getting home, and that's a terrifying feeling. Don't drive tired,
Yeah.
everybody.
Mm-hmm. All right.
Anyways.
So we can move on to Sammy's first one now.
On a different note, one of my favorite genres that I still consume is true crime. Much like a
Woo!
lot
True
of,
crime.
I love true crime as well.
Love it.
I love true crime. I feel
So
like
great.
the three of us love true crime. Boys, you're
I
true
have no
crime.
context to what
Don't
this
even
is.
know. I didn't even know it was a concept until now.
Forensic
It's
files.
for the past several years, I feel.
Interesting,
it-
Dan.
Interesting.
Just tell me what it is, because I
It is
probably
just
never.
people discussing and talking and like forensic files, all those like Netflix documentaries about like
Serial
there's the one
killers.
about the Cecil Hotel,
So
these
just-
serial killers,
Just crime.
true
documentaries.
crime,
Crime.
Yes, true crime.
Okay,
It has to
yeah, I
be-
didn't know it had a name.
Oh
I
yeah, it's
Didn't, okay.
a lot of people.
Yeah, I've watched a bunch of
Oh.
like I don't remember what the name of the show was, but it's basically goes through the whole process of the crime, and then the only part that I really cared about was then after the judicial sentencing and all that. It was kind of cool to see how they were able to
just
find this
talking about
evidence,
Law
and
and
then
Order?
it just be like, huh?
Is that
Is that
long?
No.
Law and Order?
No, what's the guy? What's the famous guy that has like the super deep voice, and he's like, talks about like
America's
the crazy.
Most Wanted?
No, I don't remember. But yeah, he did like a lot of the celebrity ones, like
Oh.
the Manson
I don't know.
murders
I don't
and stuff.
remember, yeah.
Anyway,
I
but
don't
like
know.
anyway,
But
yeah,
Anyway.
he went through the whole thing. It was really cool. He just talked about it and then
So the
So
answer is
Dan,
no, we
so
don't
Dan, a
listen to
casual
any
crew
true
true crime.
So
yeah, this
is
was also
casual
way
true
back
crime.
in the world. Yeah, I
Yeah.
never even less than
'Cause I feel
casual.
like true crime is the stereotype is that it is
It's a lot of
very
women.
much consumed by
Yeah.
women. Yeah.
Which is, I mean,
And
very
I-
true because I have a lot of friends who are also women who
Who are
love
irrelevant
true
to true
crime.
crime.
So
Yeah. True
I
crime
mean-
is very fun.
I care about like conspiracy theory stuff.
that's
like,
not that's
kind
not
of
so
it.
much
different.
true
But that's
crime.
like adjacent s.
It's
I feel
adjacent.
like that's definitely more of a guy thing.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Like
conspiracies
conspiracy
are like,
theories.
yeah.
I like
From what I've seen.
Lamino, who's I don't know if you know who he is. He's great. He did the he does documentaries based off of like conspiracy theory-esque stuff. So he did like Circa 305 or whatever. He did DB Cooper. He did the Malaysian flight or whatever, like that kind of stuff. I care about that stuff more, I think, than like
just
you
like
know,
serial
fucking, oh,
killers.
this person was murdered. No one knows how.
See, I love
I prefer
serial
the
killers. I
solved.
think they're
I
so
prefer
interesting.
yeah,
I don't
serial
care.
killers are
Serial
such a
killers,
serial
they're
killers.
messed up people, but it's
Yes.
interesting to learn about how someone gets to that.
right?
also really love cult documentaries.
Cults,
'cause
I
it's
love
just
cults,
like,
too.
Yeah.
oh my god, what is?
I don't know. That's just too
It's-
real.
It is.
I
It is
feel
real.
weird.
Part
yes.
of the.
That
Yeah.
is, it's
Yeah.
actual like
real.
I
telling
feel
the
too
story.
weird
Yeah,
about
they're
it.
just
like,
telling
oh, these are
people-
real people, real lives that are just actually just fucked up now.
Yeah,
Mhm.
they're dead.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't
mostly.
think I'm. Yeah, I think I get too fucked up with that. Like I can't.
I also I take those though, especially as like a cautionary tale,
Yeah.
especially to kind of like
Yeah.
Because
understand
it
like
does
especially
see,
with like the
you
cult.
do see a
Yeah.
lot of the red flags. Very, just like so many red flags,
Mhm.
so often, and you're just like seeing how they got out of it, if they got out of it, what went right, what went wrong,
Yeah.
people at the wrong place at the wrong time, and then also I'm just really into just YouTubers in their bedrooms talking about just laying out a case.
Yeah.
I feel
One in
like that's
particular I
less
gotta
interesting
highlight.
because I don't trust YouTubers to be.
Well, no, there a lot
No,
of
they're
no,
not,
there-
like,
there's
they're
certain
specific
ones that
true
go
crime
in
YouTubers.
deep. Yeah,
Yeah.
there's true crime YouTubers
My-
that go in deep.
Yeah. I gotta highlight her since we're talking about true crime. Stephanie Harlow, her
Oh,
YouTube
she's
channel.
great.
She's like the only one I basically consume for true crime, pretty much at this point. For the like mostly because I just and I feel like she stands out the most, especially since she really goes
Yeah,
in.
she
Like
goes
she tries
in.
to understand almost everything about a case, not just what the hell happened, but like the people surrounding the victims and the potential perpetrators and all that jazz.
Yeah.
She really is so thorough. And I love she's also done like talked about cults, she's talked about other
Yeah.
historical crime stuff, and yeah, and also her podcast with what's his name, David Lavasser, I think is who it is, who's like it's called Crime Weekly. Highly recommend that as well. So,
Yeah, I like her. I also
yeah.
like Danielle Halen a lot. She's good too. She's very similar to Stephanie. She's also really good, and just
ooh.
yeah, they do like 40 minutes a case, and you're just like invested the whole time of like, I prefer the solved cases, and I prefer a lot of documentaries that have been solved because I think a lot of
enjoy. I
times
do enjoy the solved ones. The unsolved ones
because
bother me.
The unsolved ones, yeah, one, it bothers me, and two, I don't love theories because a lot of times that's like the thing is all the theories can't all be right. Not all of these people could have done it, so.
Yeah.
We are just now accusing someone who's innocent, and I don't love even if it's weird. I don't love the unsolved ones.
Just to like throw out some of my like favorite like Netflix true crime documentaries. I really love Don't Fuck with Cats. I think that's a great one.
Oh, don't fuck.
I
yeah,
saw
that's
that one. That
really
I
one's
good.
love
insane.
Evil
That one's
Genius.
insane.
That's the pizza bomber one.
Yeah, that
That
Oh.
one's
good.
really good. The Night Stalker one that's new.
Yeah, the new
That one's
Night
really
Stalker
good.
one. That one is really good. I haven't gotten through it because it's a little too real. But the new, I forget what it's called. The Epstein one.
Oh, I haven't seen that.
That
yet,
one is.
Yeah.
Oh,
I
man.
can't. I have to watch that in bits
Mm-hmm.
because that's too real.
Tiger King is a fun watch. It's a little bit. The vibe is very different than other true crime.
Tiger King
It's
is
a
wild.
fun.
Tiger
It's
King
a
is
wild, but
insane.
it's a fun watch.
Yeah, it's very fun.
But yeah,
That's
True
true
crime.
crime.
True
Woo.
crime.
What true crime?
Yep.
Damn.
Dan the Man.
Damn.
Yo,
What's
so
your thing?
a little different than everything that we've talked about.
We talked about two
but
very different things
this-
so far.
Yeah.
Before you start, I'm getting the tapes.
Oh.
The tapes? Okay.
Yeah,
Well,
the evidence.
my
We're
first
getting
thing
the
I want
evidence
to
now.
talk about is none other than Dota 2. Mainly
tapes are full.
for the actual life impact it's had on me.
Semi-significant, I'd say.
I'd say very significant. Well, first off, to explain the game, it's a multiplayer game where you're matched 5 versus 5 in a little battle arena where the person to destroy the enemy base wins. It's that
League of
simple.
Legends.
Yep, very common. It's Dota 2's like Dota. The original game was based off a mod someone made, and then they decided to then remake it, and then remake it again, and then the one I play is Dota, and I love Dota to death. I have quite a bit of time invested to it. As of right now, I'm at 5,000.
5,086.
Yeah.
As of the time of recording this episode, so it'll probably be what?
Like 5,100 probably.
Yeah, 5,100 by the time we actually put this out.
Yeah, I've played since 2014, so it's been quite a while. It's been through a lot of ups and downs of how much I've played. Lately, less, but
Less?
pretty
Less?
consistent
Again,
all
I
around.
want to put out
Oh,
the
dude,
math
less.
there
You
because
have no idea.
generally that was 2014 was 7 years ago,
Oh
right?
God.
That's still
Yeah.
Wow,
over.
yeah, at
that's,
the time. Yeah.
That's still over 700 hours per year. Still over 700 hours a year.
Yep, quite a lot of time. The main reason I had such a life impact, besides just the amount of time invested into it, but I met people playing online. It literally started off being like, "Oh, that was a fun game. Let's play another game," and then from there, it just kept going, and then we kept going, and we're like every other day would be like, "Let's play," and then it was every day we played together. Until finally we decided, like, well, my name is Dan, what's your name? And then we kind of shared more information, and then we kind of grew in relationships. So over, like, 2 years, we went from, like, just casual friends to, like, exchanging phone numbers and texting. And then finally he's like, hey, you should come visit us sometime. And I'm like, okay, that's kind of interesting, but yeah, why not? I mean, we've been playing together for, like, 2 years at this point, why not? So I go visit them, and then they're just like, "Hey, do you wanna come live with me? I have like a room in my house." And I'm just like, "Oh my gosh, I don't know."
Bring it back to true
And then-
crime
To
for a
bring it back
second.
to true crime, that's
That's
how
how
you
you
get
get
murdered,
murdered.
ladies. That's how you
Yeah,
get
okay.
murdered. Don't
Especially
do
if
it.
you're a girl.
That's how you
Don't
get
do it.
murdered.
Mhm.
Look, I'm
Uh-huh.
sorry. When you told us the story the first time, I think Kayla and I think maybe Maria was here when you told the story, and all of us were like, "And you
This
did
is how
it?"
you get murdered.
Yeah.
And you just went
I
out
mean,
there and did it? Oh no.
At that
honey,
point,
no.
we'd been talking to each other literally every single
He
day
was
for
playing
multiple
the long
hours
con.
for 2 years. And
That's
I'm
the
sorry,
long con.
my life isn't worth that much time. As sad as that is, it's just true. I don't have money.
Selling
Oh
you into some sort of
Anyway.
weird human
Dan.
trafficking.
It was
ring.
I mean, they had to get good at Dota.
Oh my
even
God.
that was impressive. They had to do that. It was.
how
I
you
was
get-
like, at this point, the con was so good, I didn't care. I was like, you know what? You want to
You're
sell me
like,
for
they,
parts?
you know what?
I
If it-
think
if
it's
it happened, they
probably.
deserve it. They
You're
deserve
right.
it for the work.
You've deserved it. You put so much work. Go ahead. But yeah, so I came and visited and stayed for a week, and I was like, this is the best week of my life. And then it kind of just ended off being like, hey, I have all my friends that in my area of life, but you're my close friend. Why don't you move here? And I'm like, I'll think about it. So after a long time of like, I think it was like 6 months of planning and prepping and talking it over with people, praying about it, I decided, you know what? I think this is the best thing for me. So I decided to move out of my parents' house, to move with a guy I met on the internet playing video games with. And now I've been living here for over 2 years. 2 years, just like a couple days out. Yeah, like 6 days after that. So
You
2
managed
year
to
anniversary.
get the one person that wasn't gonna murder you.
Yep.
Thank God you lucked out
and
there, Dan.
it's awesome.
As someone
I
who's
love living
very
here.
tangentially related with the Dota 2 community, I think like 89% of the community would have murdered you. But you found
Okay,
the, like,
and that
11%
brings me
that's
to
not
the
that bad.
second
Oh my
part
God.
of Dota 2. Dota 2 is a very old game, and
It's also top 10 most toxic games on the planet. I'm
it
not
is
even joking.
here we go. You ready for
boy.
this? I'm gonna say right now, it's actually not. The problem and the main reasoning is the game is so freaking old and has no support from a lot of the development team, where all those people who like are in it for the rush and stuff have left. This game, it's definitely died down to the point where the people that play it, at least I have, like, are all people that are like older and don't care anymore, and they're just enjoying it like, oh, this is just what we do. Oh, we still get toxic people, but that's every online community and game. Frankly, you're not gonna get away from it.
If it's a
Also,
multiplayer game.
if it's a multiplayer game, there's going to be toxic people, because it's just that's just how people like let out their stress, which I can understand.
You have been toxic.
Feel like people shouldn't.
I've
do
been in
that,
voice calls with
but-
you playing Dota 2. You have been toxic.
Oh well, your definition of toxic
Call out.
can be really that way. Anyway, anyone can relate to that. But yeah, it's a pretty niche community, as in that people that like Dota don't like anything else. It's actually been on streamer charts where it's like, people that play CSGO or League of Legends, what other communities do they like watching? Oh, they kind of like watching this, they kind of like doing that. And then off in its own little corner, people that watch Dota 2 watch nothing else. And that's
weird.
why,
Sounds like
yeah,
a-
it's
This
its
seems very
own little
insular.
island. It's really weird. Nothing. People that play it don't really care for other things. I mean, I definitely branch out more than most people do in the thing, and I am not super competitive when it comes to playing it. I just like the game, because I discovered the game because I liked playing real-time strategy games, which is basically the same game, just not team effort really. So yeah, Dota 2 literally changed my life, and it's still a game I play every single day pretty much, because I
For
mean,
a
at this
very
point,
long
it's
time.
been so much time invested and so much money
The sunk
invested
cost
into
fallacy
this
is
quote
too
unquote
intense.
free game.
Dan, you
Uh,
told us once
yeah.
how much money you've spent, and also,
That's why quote unquote.
Oh,
and
I
also
had to.
also Lucas has had to explain, because I have never heard of this game until I met Dan, and then had to be informed of what it was, how you play it, and what it is. And then, how much money have you spent? Let's start with that. Roughly. Estimates.
A little bit.
That's not
That's
an
not an
estimate.
answer.
We want
Several
a dollar
hundred,
amount.
several thousand.
I
Can I say $2,000?
I wouldn't be surprised.
That sounds
if you
about
quoted
right.
for that one from
His
him.
silence
Yeah.
is telling. Yeah, about $2,000, I'd say.
$1,500 of my hard-earned money I've spent on making my characters look different than they normally look.
Yeah,
I've
so
literally
basically for
paid for
custom
digital
skins.
hats.
Lucas
Yep.
Only
had to
for
explain,
custom skins.
yeah. Lucas
What's
had to
great
explain
about
this to me,
Dota
and I
2,
don't think
there
I
was a,
understood it for like 5. I was just like, but what do you? Does it do it?
So
Like-
I definitely had a
Explain gaming to Sammy
video
tonight.
game monetization 101 with Sammy,
Because I didn't
where
get it.
I had to explain to her, yes, the video game Dota 2 is free. You do
Don't-
not have to pay for it. However, the
Why?
way they make money is by selling skins for the characters that make them look all sparkly and pretty. And Dan has indeed spent around $1,500 on doing
And I
just that.
genuinely think you had to, and I apologize for making.
I had to say it
explain
like
to
4
me 4
times.
times. I apologize for that, but I didn't. I just could not grasp the concept of the game is free, and you don't
Yeah.
have to pay a penny for it. But you
It's
chose
the same.
But you chose
It's
to
the
spend
collecting.
$1,500.
It's like compared to K-pop albums, you're just like, I mean, I could just pay for a
Yeah, but
Spotify
Dan,
subscription.
tomorrow
I have
could-
the music.
Yeah, but tomorrow
but,
that
like-
game could just disappear off the face of the planet, and there goes all your hard-earned money.
It
And
could.
I still have my K-pop albums on this shelf.
It could.
I,
But probably
I, it took me a
Yeah,
while
it
to
is
grasp
still
the
For
concept.
reference, also, the people that make Dota 2 are also the same people that own Steam.
Oh.
And Steam is a pretty big company.
Oh, I didn't know that.
So,
Yeah.
oh, you didn't
No,
know
Those
that?
are the
Yes,
same
no.
people that make
It's the
Half-Life.
same
They-
exact.
that's
Yeah, they
valid.
made Half-Life. It's the same company. So if Steam goes down,
The
then my
Dota 2
Dota goes down.
Then go.
So that's how you access Dota is through Steam, correct?
And just to let you know, because of how like I spent that much, people I already explained the demographic of a lot of older people. Yeah, so every single year, this is how they make their money: is they raise like buy shiny skins and you invest into a professional player prize pool. So tournament last year, they sell the stuff and 1/4 of the money goes to the prize pool. So a fourth of that money. So $35 million, which is a fourth of how much
Holy.
total they made, went towards the prize
Ooh.
pool.
Oh my god.
So yeah,
That's insane.
there's a lot of people with a lot of money, and they put a lot of it into this game because they're a bunch
that's
of old
$180
people with jobs.
$180 million.
It's
Yep.
crazy though how much money is in MMO games, in MMO game competitions.
MOBAs,
It's crazy
yeah.
how much
Dota 2
there
has
is in-
the record for the biggest tournaments out of any like digital gaming.
And they're like
esport of all.
competing with like actual sports with like
Yeah, they are like
they're
poker
pretty
and
close.
stuff like that. It's actually ridiculously stupid. But yeah, that's Dota 2. Changes your life in good ways and bad ways. So yeah, watch out.
Alright.
Geek.
Lucas.
Continuing on the gaming train, I apologize, but I want to talk about fighting games because that's the only video games I play now. So in the same way that Dan has spent the last 7 years playing Dota 2, I've played a collection of fighting games, but mostly Super Smash Bros. Melee for the Nintendo GameCube, which is a pretty it's a game
It's
that
a game.
exists. I don't know if I describe it as fun anymore. It's kind of the same sunk cost fallacy where I've spent so much goddamn time playing this stupid video game that infuriates me that I can't stop, and I've made a lot of friends playing it. I haven't moved in with any of them yet, but yeah, that's probably not happening.
That's the
Next
next
step.
evolution.
But yeah, I play fighting games. I used to compete. I technically still do. In the much like, because COVID, I can't actually drive to a local tournament and participate because those don't exist anymore. But I try and plan on online tournaments whenever I see one that is like, relatively in the area-ish and is like, I'm like in the mood because I don't really do it that much anymore. But yeah, I play Super Smash Bros. Melee. I recently played in a Killer Instinct tournament. I play Guilty Gear. I tried playing Marvel. It was too hard, so I stopped playing that. Yeah. I also have not spent... Well, if I count all of the money I've spent going to tournaments...
That's different.
It's different because you have travel. It's
Is that
different because you have
different?
travel costs, which is like a whole
That's
different
travel
thing.
costs.
Travel
and that's
costs.
Yeah.
You've flown to tournaments.
I
my
have
dude.
flown to tournaments, so I think that's a
That's
little
bit
bit,
more useful than like just virtual
Yeah.
cosmetics.
That's
So, yeah.
also, you're going places. That's different.
Yeah, I've
Like,
gone
it's a
to...
life experience.
Yeah, this is a life
Yeah.
experience.
I've gone to a lot of cool places because of...
See?
At least the friends I've made, too. So I've gone to Boston, I've gone to DC, I went to Ohio once. That was not a great experience, but I was in
Because
Ohio for a
But
little
that's
bit.
mainly because it was Ohio.
I was also in Ohio, which is not the greatest state. In
We
the
know
United States.
Lucas's immense hatred of Ohio.
I'm not a
I
fan
mean,
of that
I'm
place.
going to put
It
it out
sounds
there.
rival to my mom's hatred of Iowa.
Look,
so
I'm gonna put it out there.
that's
I don't
fair.
think any of us are particularly massive fans of Ohio. Sorry,
Having-
one person
having-
maybe that listens to this that's
Having-
I
from
have
Ohio.
Having
zero
grown up in
opinion of
Michigan,
Ohio.
like you're kind of like born with like a hatred of
A
Ohio.
hatred of Ohio.
So
It's like the hatred
yeah.
of Spain.
Besides travel costs, I've spent $0. But that's,
You bought the game, gosh darn it.
that was
And you
$60.
bought like how many fight sticks along the way?
Oh, that's
Oh, that's-
okay.
there it is.
If I count all of my controllers that
Plus
I purchased,
upgrades that you've gotten.
Great, but
Oh,
all of those
oh,
seem
shit.
to be necessary
Uh,
things to play the game.
Are they? Are they? People have literally made fight sticks out of cardboard boxes.
So how much money have I spent on specifically fight sticks?
Oh.
that
be
one
fun.
was $300.
not as bad as
Less-
1.5K.
Not as bad as 1,500.
Yes,
my
but on
gosh.
things matter somewhat. And
You
then,
bought
like,
your
well, that's
Switch
just
just to
I will
play
say I do
Ultimate,
think-
I bought
and then
my
you realized you were
Switch just to play
disappointed.
Ultimate.
I
and it
do
was
think
terrible,
Fight
and I
6
stopped
have more practical usage
Well,
than the
uses
Dota
than-
Dude, mine also
cosmetics.
looks
Yeah.
sick.
Yeah.
They also look sick.
And also,
And I
you
can put them
know,
on a shelf and they look
Physical
cool.
and not digital.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
This
Yeah.
is what we've learned today.
I also started customizing my sticks, like changing the buttons and doing all that stuff, so that was fun. I like changed my GameCube controllers. I did all that kind of stuff. That was also fun because there's stuff you can do with them too. So I did that.
For cosmetic reasons.
For
as well.
cosmetic
For
reasons and for
cosmetics.
practical reasons, I changed out my control stick on my GameCube controller to like the Wii Nunchuck control stick because it's cooler and is like higher, so it's like less effort to like turn around. And then I removed one of the springs from one of the things because if I need a shield drop and power shield, I only need the
Alright,
digital input.
cool. I
So,
don't
yeah.
know springs and
There's a
And
there's
higher.
a spring inside of the
yes, I
trigger
know.
because it's an analog input, but I only need the digital input to do power shields and shield drops. So I
Yep.
just got rid of it because it's
You don't
not
need it. It takes more time.
So, yep. And I'm trying to think. But yeah, I'm decent, I'd say. I'd say I'm like above
You're definitely
intermediate
above,
level.
yeah, very pretty
sure.
good.
I think I'm
I still wanna play
solidly
with you.
into
Sammy,
Yeah,
who
I
has like
definitely-
who has not started gaming
That's
until
gonna be an
last
episode.
year.
We're gonna definitely do a thing where Lucas beats
Sammy at fighting
Sammy.
games.
At
I've
fighting
never
games.
played Smash Brothers.
Sammy
ever.
didn't play video games
Yeah.
until
Smash
last
Bros.
year.
Melee is a classic, girl.
Yeah,
Smash
Dude.
Bros.
The
Melee
only-
was.
I think we can we
Childhood.
go on a weird tangent where we just also explain the fact that I don't know video. Lucas has also had to explain what fighting, not
Just
what
video
fighting
games.
are. I understand the general concept. There
Yeah,
were
this was
2
fighting
days.
games.
There were
This
2
was
days, 2 full
Video
days.
Games 101.
It was video game
101 and
genres.
102.
Yeah, we
I
went
had to
through
explain
every
what they
genre
all
of video
were.
game. I did not actually know what an MMO meant at all.
Oh yeah, she didn't know
Do you
the
know what
difference between an
FPS
MMO
means?
and like a
What's
RPG
FPS?
and what an yeah.
I
had to
know.
explain.
I know what it means.
Sammy,
does
do
this
you
stand
remember?
for?
This is a
Quiz
quiz.
time.
Quiz. What does MMO
Pop
stand
quiz.
for?
I don't
FPS.
like them, but I know what it means.
MMO isn't it multi? Oh, it's something.
You
it's
got
something
it.
Multiplayer.
Slowly. It's huge. Other words, massive.
Mass
Okay.
Massive
multiplayer.
multiplayer
online.
Thank you.
All right.
And FPS is first person shooter. Now you know.
All right.
I do
My
not
brain- I
like
did
first
not
I
person
remember
hate
that.
first
Also-
person
I attempt it.
shooters.
I suck at them.
I've
My
never-
brother's so
Look,
much better
mine
than me.
for everyone to have a base knowledge, the only video game I had played before joining all of these people is the fact that I've played The Sims and I like to make
Quote,
it, and it's
unquote,
mainly
video
just
game.
because I enjoy.
Hey, it
I
is a video
enjoy
game.
No,
Hey,
I will get
and
into
I
that
didn't
crap on
say-
everyone.
I just
I
enjoy
will get into that
interior
soon.
design.
Yeah, this is maybe a good time to just transition into Maria's, which is like a very
Please.
So speaking
Yeah.
of which, Sims 2 is a video game, and mine's is more broadly video games because really, variety's the spice of life for me. I've kind of dabbled in almost everything over the years, and it's kind of been one of those constants that over the years I've always at some point gone back to. Like it started with me. I think what I really remember was like getting a GameCube and playing like games like Mario Kart, Mario Party, Super Smash Bros, the
Hell
original Lego
Oh my
Star
God,
Wars video
Legos.
games. That
Hell
was so
yeah.
fun.
Oh, that was my
Dude,
life.
that's
Yeah.
a classic.
Those were so much fun. Oh my god! And then
Combined everything in
and
my
then
life.
And then as I got older, it was things like, of course, I eventually got DS and played Pokemon games. I also had a GameCube Advance, so that was probably like my very first video game like handheld thing. And I played I remember clearing out completely the Harry Potter Prisoner of Azkaban game. I don't know why, but I did. But that's like the first game I remember I completely maxed out and cleared. So yay me, I guess. Anyways, but over the years, it's been, it's evolved. Like I think really the technical first games I played were like those literal, those like CD-ROMs where you play where it goes
Yes.
through a thing that you play. Like I remember Stella Luna, the back
Oh
one.
my god.
Oh my
I
god.
remember playing that. And then stuff like that. And then, as a kid, Zoo Tycoon was a huge game I played a lot of. I absolutely loved it. And then, also, as of recent, I also invested and got a Switch and a PS4. I always wanted to get a PlayStation at some point to play exclusives. And I say the biggest one I played lately that I know that is not Japanese, because the other ones basically are. But the one that isn't Japanese I played a lot is Ghost of Tsushima. Tsushima, which is a fantastic game. Absolutely love it. Very highly recommend it. And for me personally, as I won't talk about it too much because again, it's Japanese theme, but old school samurai films, I got into like a habit of watching some, so it very much reminds me of that, and it was like such a nice throwback of when I had that phase when I watched a bunch of samurai films. But it's such a artistically stunning game. And then for me, probably the most impactful one that just defined the video game experience for me was definitely The Sims 2. My cousin introduced it to me. She was like around 11, I was 10, and I just became hooked. I know some people, it's more of like a casual, chill life simulator type video game, you know?
That's the whole point of games.
But that's the whole point. That's why I like it. It's your own canvas. You can do what the fuck you want with your people, with the houses you're building, with the rooms you're making, and that's what makes it fun. And, you know, it's nothing too serious. It's a nice game to chill, and I've been playing it a lot because I got it downloaded onto my laptop, so I've been having a lot of fun time just playing that over again. It's been a great stress reliever, especially with work being kind of crazy for me. But yeah, and then there's Kingdom Hearts is a weird one. I can't really talk about that too much because it's mainly developed by Square Enix, which also developed like Final Fantasy and like Dragon Quest, so it's very much Japanese, but it's half and half because it has the Disney characters in it, so that, which I'm going to discuss a little bit about Disney later on, but that one I can't really talk about too much. But overall, video games over the years have definitely been just a major influence in my, I guess, enjoyment of entertainment.
I want to give a shout out to Stardew Valley because that's a game that I have massively enjoyed recently and is like one of my go-to just like, I don't know, mind-numbing games that I can just play when I need to not think about it. Yeah, Lucas is the one who told me about it, and
it's like, hey, do you like Animal Crossing?
I literally just bought Story of Seasons. It's coming tomorrow. It's literally just Stardew Valley, but different. So I'm a big fan of those style of games.
When are we gonna get the knee slappers Minecraft?
I don't like Minecraft.
No.
I don't like Minecraft.
Sorry, fan. I've looked at it and I just have no interest in Minecraft.
Like it.
I know my cousin was huge into it though.
Before Dota 2, that's all I played.
So my next topic here is a very broad topic of American reality competition shows, and I have to specify American specifically because of what my third item is. But I watch a lot of these. Survivor, I think, is one of the shows I've watched. Like, I've watched that show since I was like, I think 9 or 10 years old. And it's one of my favorite shows. I still watch it today. Like, I listen to a whole podcast about it like every week, and the Survivor's not even airing right now, but they're going back and watching past seasons. I listen to it every week. I love it. Big Brother, I haven't watched as much recently because it's gotten really trashy in recent seasons, but that was a show I used to enjoy a lot. I love The Amazing Race because of the travel aspect. I think it's really cool. I got out of it for a while because I do like the travel aspect, but the people they cast on the show got really trashy, and so I like stopped watching that too.
I'm seeing a theme.
Yep, there's a big theme here. Survivor has also gotten kind of trashy in recent seasons. The only thing that saved it was they did an all-winter season. Their last season they aired before they had to stop filming for coronavirus stuff was an all-winter season, and that was really, really good. But I also have gotten in the peak like COVID times into the like Netflix produced competition show. So The Circle and Too Hot to Handle and Love is Blind. I watched all of those last year. All of them are like very much like hot messes of a show, but they're very entertaining to watch. So I enjoyed all of them immensely. And then The Bachelor and Bachelorette is not a show that I'm really into, but I started watching it because I have my friends watch it, and so I would go to like watch parties with them. And that is an absolutely terrible show, but it's like such a hot mess that it's just like fun to watch. And that's like really,
I agree,
what I like it for.
Especially the most recent seasons.
The last two seasons have been a fucking disaster.
Oh god, the most recent last few most recent Bachelor seasons have been a shit show. The Bachelorette seasons recently have been, I think, much more enjoyable, and Bachelor in Paradise is probably the most fun of them, but the Bachelor seasons have been such a shit show.
The Bachelor has been horrible. Like, it's been so bad.
Man. Yeah, it's like, what the hell? And there's like more information coming out from, well, at the time of this recording, Matt's season ended like last month, so there's still stuff coming out and in aftermath of that, and it's just like, my god, it just we need the next Bachelorette season coming up soon. Luckily they're filming it as of this recording right now, but this will get old quick. But Yeah, so we're getting 2 in the year of 2021,
Yeah.
so which is great. And I like the people, so.
Marie and Sammy also want to talk about the Jersey Shore because that is
Look, the Jersey Shore is
tangentially-
not a reality competition show, but I have seen all of it, and it is insane.
Same.
It is
Fucking
wild.
crazy.
They're all crazy. By the way, only one of them is from Jersey.
Yeah.
And also, like, only, like, 3 or 4 of them are Italian, which is hilarious.
Yeah. It's like the one reality show. I could look back at it now and be like, yeah, this was
bad.
This was definitely a definition of problematic. But at
Oh,
the same
they're
time,
very
it's crazy how much
problematic.
this show was so influential too.
I was in...
It's, like, insane.
Again, I'm from Jersey. While I was in middle school into high school while the Jersey Shore was airing.
Ditto.
It was
I mean, not in Jersey, though, of course,
massively
but in Ditto.
influential
Shore time,
to
yeah.
everything in my life. To the people around me, to the culture around me. It was insane. Also, just saying, terribly problematic in every way from, like, everything
Horrible.
they did. Like, looking back on it, we had a conversation about this, and we just talked about how every decision made, all of them are massively... And, like, the relationships that are, like, we just had, like, a 20-minute conversation one night about how Ronnie and Sammy's relationship is one of the worst things in reality television history.
MTV
Awful.
honestly worshipped
Should
it.
not have-
MTV luckily
shouldn't be
well,
able
not-
to
yeah.
produce
MTV should have
content.
not been doing
Yeah.
that. Like, that was the
They
worst
should not
thing
have
to
aired
promote.
that. I mean,
no.
the fight in season 3, the big one between Sammy and Ron, where the bed
The bed was broken? Yeah, no.
Reportedly,
horrible.
they were yelling at people, at the producer people, to help stop it, and
Yeah.
that's why you see all the castmates literally trying to pry them apart. It
Look,
got
they
that
were,
bad.
like, that got escalated to the point where, like, looking back on it, I did not realize how physical it got. Because, like, you don't think
Yeah.
about it, but it got very physical. We cannot go
It's
on
fucked
that
up.
long of a tangent about the Jersey Shore, but the Jersey Shore, hugely influential.
God,
But awful
yeah,
show.
it's crazy. It also is, I think, reflecting of like
The
to get
time?
a little bit deep into it. The time of like people, because it was like the beginning part of the recession. People
Yeah.
were like, and people in their 20s
it's-
and like teens.
Yeah,
were trying
like,
to find
they
ways
didn't
to
give
have
him a
fun and
mansion.
party.
They made him work at a t-shirt store. And gave him, like,
Yeah.
the house isn't even that big. They all have room. Like, there was I guess it's probably also for production reasons. A small house, tensions are much higher in a smaller space.
And like when you
but
take
still,
away TV and phones too.
Yeah,
it's like,
but still, it's,
Yeah.
like, not the big... They had no space in that house. That house is surprisingly small.
oh yeah. Oh yeah, it is quite a small space, and like, oh god, and stuff within Italy and in
Oh,
Miami
God.
too.
Oh, God.
Oh god.
We can't get into that right
well-
now.
That's
oh
like
god.
a whole
Yeah.
other conversation.
That's its own thing.
Yeah, but either way, it's a show that definitely made you realize, like, god damn, it was such an interesting show of the time to watch.
Yes.
Because it's like such a reflective of like what was deemed acceptable on TV
Oh,
then
yeah.
in some ways. And then just like also just like
Just
how
the entirety
attitudes
of
a lot
how
of
they
people.
just thinking about the massive catchphrases of what they would say on that show,
Oh god.
just how
Could
they
you
would
imagine what
treat women on that show is horrifying now.
Yeah.
Like, just
Like stuff that
the-
would
some
not
of the
pass today.
yeah,
for
no,
sure.
the entirety of the situation is a situation, and it should not have happened.
Luckily, he apparently has matured a lot since then.
Since he went to prison,
which is good.
Since
So-
he was in
yeah,
prison.
that
He went to
doesn't do
prison
it.
Since he went to
tax
prison for
evasion.
tax evasion.
Yeah. He did for taxes.
Yeah, he didn't pay
That's so
taxes.
funny that's
He
what
went
got
to
him.
jail.
What
And his
actually
brother,
got him
too,
in
I think,
prison
got
for
his
tax
brother,
too, as
evasion.
That's
well.
the thing with the, because also Teresa from the Jersey Housewives went to prison for tax
Oh, that's
evasion.
right. Yeah.
That did happen. Another show I watched, horrible show. Don't watch
Also,
The
now
Housewives.
that we're
I
on this,
know.
it
I've
reminds
seen
me of
clips,
this past
but- oh,
conversation
God.
we had where me and Sammy watched like a lot of Dance Moms as well. That was
A
another
lot of Dance
horrible
Moms.
show.
That show is
That's
horrible.
an awful. Oh my god,
also.
it's an awful,
Awful.
show. Absolutely awful
We
show.
did watch a lot of Dance Moms. That show went on way longer than I
Goddamn.
thought it
It-
did, because they got an entire
I
new cast
know
of
it
people,
went on
and I'm
so
like,
much
what?
longer.
It had 8. That show had 8 seasons.
That's too many.
And don't forget of the spinoff of no,
Abby-
no,
Abby
it was
Lee's-
the pageant show that was Honey Boo Boo.
No, that's Honey Boo Boo, but no,
Jojo
there
Siwa
was.
and that Maggie Zellweger chick.
Yeah, no,
both
but
got, like,
JoJo is from a spin-off, which is Abby Lee's
the
dance competition show.
And she
and then they brought her
made
into the
her
main
way
show.
onto Dance
Yes.
Moms at some
Oh,
point.
okay.
Yeah.
There was also a Dance Moms Miami, I remember, that aired for a very short period
There
of time.
was.
Yeah.
Oh, God.
There was a lot of
lot
Dance
of
Moms,
Dance Moms.
guys.
Reality TV. It's
Trash.
trash.
It's
It is
really
trash.
trashy.
We
I enjoy
it.
that it's very trashy, but I still consume a lot of it. So
Yes.
Oh no.
It's,
I mean,
boys.
yeah, there's
Yeah.
a lot of that.
Yeah, I've
I feel
watched
like
no
it's very
reality
much a
TV.
woman.
I can't handle. Well, I watch other things that are
trashy.
Tra-
Yeah, I
Trashy.
watch
the same thing. Like just watch esports drama.
See,
There's
oh,
enough of
that's
that.
drama
another.
is
That's
so
essentially
bad.
It's
reality.
exact.
That's like
It's
a
it is. That's
reality
what I'm
show.
trying to say. It's exactly the same thing. Watching
So-
teams move from players getting kicked to like rivalries and stuff. It's the same
I-
thing.
Can I just say that specifically for Melee, I think
Oh yeah, Melee
it's
is an
literally
anime written,
an
which is
anime.
why it's not.
because
real
there is,
fighting
there is
game.
Goku, there is Vegeta, there
Yeah.
is I'm gonna say Yamcha. That's kind of just who he is. Like you could literally
Just
like
cast an anime.
pin people, cast
Yeah.
an anime.
Nice.
with,
Real people.
Like
Esports players.
Mango is Goku.
Yeah, it's just
Uh,
how it goes.
Leffen
It's
is
there's
Vegeta.
nothing to hide.
He is the
that.
villain who got redeemed and is now the catalyst for change.
Oh
And
my God.
hope and love. And
But yeah, it's the same form of entertainment. Just
it's the same entertainment. Just
Just
it's
a
on
little-
Twitter instead
Just
of
like
you know,
on
Yeah.
television.
On television
yeah.
with
live
Live
television with
on
producing
fucking TLC or whatever the channel is.
MTV.
Hey, the
what are you
TLC
talking
Yeah,
about?
ones
Survivor
are
airs
also-
on CBS. It's like an actual channel.
That's true.
And also, the Jersey Shore was all MTV.
Yeah.
Oh, it's
Yeah.
MTV.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair.
Then again,
Alright.
it did bring me horrifying flashbacks to the fact that with my mother, I used to watch do you know the trashiest channel for these shows? And it's none of those. It's VH1 because I watched
Yes!
me and my mother when I was a child watched all of Flavor of
Oh
Love, Rock
God.
of Love, and then I Love Money, and then also Mob Wives.
This reminds
All
me
of those were
So
a
happy I
choice
didn't
to
have
be
cable.
made. Trashiest of all of them.
This reminds me of a couple
also, I
of,
love
like,
New York.
really
Terrible.
old forgotten shows. But there's a show called Beauty and the Geek that used to air like
Oh
a very
god, that
long
was
time
awful.
ago.
That sounds that sounds like
It's
apt.
wild.
one's
That show's
horrifying.
wild.
Oh, what was the
God.
one where they convinced these girls that they were marrying a prince?
Oh, I want
and
to
it
marry
was- and it wa-
Harry.
I want to marry Harry, where they got this guy
That
that they were
looks like
convincing
Prince
these girls
Harry.
was, but he doesn't.
It was horrible. That show was awful.
It was horrible. That was just a lie.
Oh, and I also just had to remember of Kid Nation, where they thought it was a good idea to take like a
Horrifying.
bunch of like
Oh,
8 to
God,
15
yeah.
I
year old
remember-
children
yes.
and put them like unsupervised in like a
In a
ghost
town.
western ghost town.
In a Western ghost town.
I watched. I know that one.
And also made them in one episode themselves kill a chicken. Horrifying.
Horrible.
God, and
Oh
John
my
Tron
gosh.
talked about that.
Horrible.
I remember
Yeah,
John
it's
talked about
horrible.
That's the only thing I know about
Yeah,
it.
no, it's
He did the interview with one of
Yeah.
the kids, right?
Yeah.
And it was
that.
actually
I think it was
fucked
the
up.
one that left, the first
Yeah.
one that
yeah,
left.
good.
Yeah.
Get
He
the-
was
get
the
out of
coolest.
He
there.
was out of there. He's
Get
like,
out
I'm
of
8
that.
years old. Like, I can't be here.
Like I should not be.
I think it was
here.
like 7 or something.
Yeah,
that
no,
kid
he
at
was
the
very
time.
young.
Poor thing.
He was one of the younger ones there. It's horrifying.
Yeah.
All right.
Anyways.
Sammy.
Anyway, Sammy.
Anyway. All
Oh,
right.
Sammy,
get off
we're
of
gonna have a
this.
good time with this one.
This one's very fun.
That's so fun.
Because
I'm
Do I
this-
just
so
have to mute
excited
again?
for this
That's
one
fine.
too.
I am
Alright,
too.
so
Let's
this
go.
Dan, get in there.
So this
Mhm.
this one is also partially sort of how everyone has an explanation for why they like things they like now. This is the reason I watch Asian dramas, because I consumed a lot of 2010s YA shows. Think Pretty Little Liars, Vampire Diaries, Teen Wolf, other ones I'm forgetting because my mind is blanking. Help.
Glee.
Glee. I watched too
A
much
lot of
Glee.
Glee. There's that really horrible one, The Secret Life of an American Teenager.
The Secret Life of the American
Oh
Teenager.
God, yes,
Garbage.
I remember
Garbage.
that.
Garbage.
Molly Ringwald is on there.
Yeah, Molly Ringwald was on that one. Molly Ringwald's now on Riverdale, by the
No.
way. That's also
Riverdale.
terrible.
What the hell?
Yeah, she plays neither here nor there, but she's like guest stars on Riverdale.
Fun.
Oh my God.
But yeah, no. Why Supernatural,
Mhm.
Vampire Diaries, all the CW ones, that was also
And then
a-
like
a
all of like
choice.
the YA like novel movie
Novels
remakes.
turned
Twilight,
tel-
honey.
So, like, Twilight, The Hunger
Twilight.
Games.
We were like the
Peak of
perfect age.
Twilight.
for
I did the
Twilight.
young adult novels because I had small brain,
Small brain.
so I needed something
That's
to.
not.
I feel like if you're
I need
reading
something
novels,
to-
that's like bigger
Bro.
brain.
That's big brain. The novels aren't bad. It's the shows that made them worse. The shows
the shows were pretty bad. The novels were fine. There was the same book written like 18 times.
But that's a genre,
I hate that once the Hunger
That's what I'm
Games-
saying. That's what I'm. So it was easy to enjoy. So that's why I read them. I read them all.
A lot of 2010 YA novels were
Insurgent.
very dystopian heavy. Like, that's what they...
They were so. That's what I'm saying. They all went
Here's
the same
why.
story.
Because it was
That was
very
it.
like supernatural heavy and then very dystopian.
I remember
heavy.
walking
It
into
was
like
a
Barnes and
clear
Nobles, and
divide.
there was a whole shelf full of paranormal
Of YA
romance. That was just...
It was like paranormal
job.
romance, and I at one point saw like a table of like dystopian fiction,
Yeah.
and I'm like, hello, okay. A lot of it was marketed, but a lot of these shows. So here's a theory for why it's the reason I now watch Asian dramas. It's mainly because Asian dramas also massively tropey and very much like a YA media because it's all romance and all very tropey.
yeah.
It's
Oh,
amazing.
yeah.
I love it.
Yeah.
And very dramatic. It's like that, but like heightened with a soap opera element and better written because all of these shows, I contend, most of these shows have a good first season.
There is a good
Most of these
part
shows
of every
have a
single one of the
great-
shows. There was a good section,
Yes.
yes.
There was a good section,
Yes.
and most of it is that first season
Yeah.
where you had the idea, and guess what? There's a reason that these are books. You can carry a book for the length of a book, and then you're done. The problem
They
is
all have
when
to be
you extend
trilogies.
this-
They all have to be
trilogies.
trilogies.
Great, but that's
Well, not
still
all of
one
them were.
story.
Like Vampire
Like
what am I thinking?
Vampire
Diaries
God,
is like
Vampire
Diaries.
Night,
Vampire
or what-
Diaries.
what
Vampire
was.
Diaries.
Vampire Academy.
Vampire
and,
Academy is
like,
also like 8 books.
and the
too.
Gossip Girl. and
Pretty
all
Little
that.
But
Liars
Gossip
is a
Girl is
very
not a
long
series
book
written by
series.
one person. Gossip Girl is
Yeah.
a series written by a... So the thing with Gossip Girl is that it's written by one person, but that person is a pseudonym for multiple authors because it's a company that just will have ghostwriters write the novels. The Gossip Girl is a weird... Same thing with Pretty Little Liars. There's no person
Pretty
behind
Little
those
Liars
books.
is
That's
also a
just
very
multiple
long book series, yeah.
Yeah, it's also like 10 books. That's why it's like 10 books long.
Yeah.
It's also how Nancy Drew and how the Hardy Boys got
Yep.
written. There's no author.
James
It's
Patterson,
all
a lot of his books also are just ghost.
also ghost
There
written,
are
not a
authors,
person
but there's
either.
multiple of them working
Yeah.
under
Yes.
the same pseudonym.
It's not
kind of like Aaron Hunter
Yeah.
with the Warriors books
Oh,
as a kid
yeah.
when I read those.
Yeah.
That's like
Oh,
series
yeah.
of cats.
Yeah.
They have a cycle of essentially I think they're all women pretty much. A
Yeah.
cycle of women authors that write
One
these
books
books
Yeah.
in these series.
Yeah. A lot of them.
But for kids.
Yeah. So a lot of those, that's why a lot of them ended up getting shows because there's no author behind them. It's entirely owned by a company. And that's also why if you actually read the Vampire Diaries, those are completely different things. Maybe the lowest adaptation is the Vampire Diaries because the novels are completely
They're
different.
just not the
But
same.
back to this is just the fact that like all of them have a decent first season. The problem is they all went on for like 6
They
to
went
8.
on way too long, and then we've lost the plot completely.
And we've lost the plot. Half the main cast has left, so you're stuck with like replacing the main
yeah,
cast
once
to
you
the
lose
side
your main cast, I think it's a sign that the show should be
Yeah.
over.
Yeah.
And also I have a habit, and this is just the truth of I do not finish shows. I will get 3 seasons in, realize I'm bored, and then never finish it.
Same.
I have never
Same.
finished Supernatural, Teen Wolf, Pretty Little Liars. All of
Glee.
the shows I listed I didn't
No,
finish.
I think I only got 3 seasons into Pretty Little Liars. I got like 4 seasons into Glee. Like I'm like
Yeah.
these are like the show.
Yeah,
once the show jumps off a cliff,
whenever
I'm like,
Glee,
no, can't do
like
this.
I watched like half
Yeah.
of the college season of Glee and was like, I'm out.
No, we can't. No.
And turns out it got worse.
Yeah.
Turns out it got worse. And then like a bunch of these shows, like when they start to lose the plot, I jump ship immediately. With an Asian drama, you get 16 episodes. You got plot. You have plot for 16
And we're
episodes.
done.
We're making
And it's
16
done.
episodes. We're done. No more. We're done. Even if you want more,
I
you're not
think that's
getting
why I appreciate Asian drama so much, is because they're fully just in one
There's a
season
full
and then
story
it's it.
and it's done. Because a lot of these shows, you don't have plot for 6 seasons.
No.
You barely have plot for 1 season. That's why you go off the rails. I looked at someone talking about the entirety of Teen Wolf the other day, and the shit that they said of what happened in the later seasons was just half of your cast is gone.
Oh yeah.
We've just redone the. I'm like, okay.
That reminds me of Once Upon a Time.
Everyone's
Once Upon a Time really jumped off a
all
cliff.
lost the main cast.
That was a great
The
first season,
great
and then
first
I was
two
like,
seasons
"This is
are great.
amazing," and then I was just
It
like,
gets
"Wait,
so bad.
what? Why is it
It's
not
so
over?"
bad. It gets horrible.
Yeah, Once Upon a Time was another one I watched.
I only
like,
watched the first season.
I
refused
watched
to
like
watch the
5
rest.
I also
seasons
want
of
to
it.
say,
I got up to
wanna
whenever
talk a
they
little bit more
introduced Elsa,
to-
and then I was like, you know what?
Yeah,
I'm
once
out.
they brought in Frozen, I was out. I was like, nope.
Yeah,
not
I'm like,
doing
I'm
it.
out. I'm done.
yeah.
I also
Yeah.
kind of jumped, not a YA, but I also did stop watching a lot of HBO shows similar to that. I watched, when I was far too young, watched True Blood,
Oh yeah.
which is just
God.
pre Game of Thrones with the same amount of nudity and violence.
Yep.
Far too young. I think I was maybe in middle school when that
Very,
started
very
airing. Should
much
not have been
young.
allowed. I think I was just left unsupervised, and that's what I did with my time. But yeah, no, I've stopped that, and apparently I did like 2 seasons of that. That also stopped, and then Game of Thrones started
Oh
going
my
off a cliff,
god.
and I jumped
Game
ship
of
on
Thrones
that.
Jumped off a cliff for sure.
I skimmed the last. I stopped like there were 6, right? So I think I might have stopped
7.
at the 7.
Yeah.
So I think I stopped at like
thought it was
halfway
8?
through
I can't
5.
remember.
How many Game
I
of
don't
Thrones
know.
seasons
I
are
need to
there?
watch a show, and I
I
think
don't
there's 8
remember. I
seasons,
just know
I'm
the
pretty
last
don't
the last
remember.
season was 6 episodes. It is 8 seasons. It was a disaster. The whole
So
of
I
it.
probably stopped at like mid season 5 and then skimmed the end and skimmed the last like 3 episodes, and that's how I watched Game of Thrones. And I think I got the best parts of that show.
Oh yeah.
Cool. Did you watch Westworld?
No,
It's the only HBO one I watched, and I really liked it. And then I watched the second season,
I don't-
and it
I don't-
actively made me
here's
hate.
the thing. I don't like
that show.
sci-fi. I like paranormal.
What a nice
Well,
transition.
This
here.
actually transitions perfectly into mine.
How could you
How do
do
you have
this?
one? What's the
How did
Do
you
we
do
just
it? I don't know.
Do we just intro this with
You
what is Dan's?
fucker.
What is one of
You
my favorite
fucker.
tags that Dan has?
Yes.
Can I just say my days, my disappointment is immeasurable.
I did not know
Another
I was
person I should
setting
have
that
actually
up, and
talked
I
about
regret
Review
it.
Bro is amazing.
All
All
right.
right, Dan,
Yeah.
take it away.
All right. I have in capital letters space as
Space.
my
Volume?
second form of favorite like Western media.
Space.
Space.
Because
Uh,
that is never discussed in Asian media ever.
Yeah,
Ever.
there's
Ever
no
at all.
sci-fi Asian
Never-
media ever.
You didn't
Although
just watch a full
yeah.
movie of Song Joong-ki in space.
In space.
It's so good. Okay. Space. I love space. I don't know if you know this, but it has one of my favorite movies, my favorite video games, and like one of my current favorite book series that I'm reading. That being the Mass Effect trilogy plus Andromeda. We'll acknowledge that is my favorite video game of all time. Star Wars being my all-time favorite movie and just overall like world and like lore in cinematography. It's so good. And then The Expanse, which I'm currently reading, which is a great book, and I love the series so far. It's going in great things. I like space because it is something that is like the opposite of this world. I get to just go off into a world and enjoy it, because fantasy is one thing, but I don't like fantasy because it very often tends to use the same tropes and is stuck to the same rules, whereas sci-fi can a little go off the rails with like, oh, we'll just do magic in space and do all that. So I've always been inclined to like to space. Star Wars being like probably the first entry into my life. My first memory of it was my parents telling me that I couldn't watch TV because they were VHS taping off of the TV the original trilogy, so I couldn't watch TV that whole day. And then I remember watching that VHS tape till it broke, and Lucas can relate to that.
We broke the VHS tape.
I memorized all the
Show.
commercials in between.
Lord.
Oh my
Oh,
god.
Yeah, it was how I fell in love with Star Wars, and then from then on, I went into reading all the books and the lore, and I loved it to death. And like I liked playing all the video games because there's so many of them and they're so good. And then Disney happened, and they decided that all those books and all those video games that you loved so much, well, guess what? They don't matter anymore. They're non-canon.
I'm definitely not happy with how Disney has handled Star Wars, if that makes
so
sense. So
it didn't ruin it. It's kind of cool. The whole concept with Disney taking it over is that they wanted everyone to be a part of it, which I can understand, because literally in one comic book you could read about a main character dying, and another one he's alive. So when you give freedom to authors to like make their own worlds and stuff, you can go off the deep end with a lot of stuff. So they wanted to create one story where someone can play a video game, watch a movie, watch a TV show, and it'd all be in the same world, which is kind of cool. I kind of understand that, and it's neat to have like, oh, that person is mentioned from the game and blah blah blah. So I like Star Wars for that. I like Star Wars' world where there's a lot of politics involved and like wars that literally branch galaxies, and they did a really good job. George Lucas was the story of how that movie was made. The original, what now is called A New Hope, is amazing. The guy was desperate for like a movie, and he was like investing. He had a lot of crazy good techniques that makes the movie like seem ageless, which is great. But like the amount of stress and depression he went through to try and get that movie out. I mean, the actors thought it was a bust. They didn't think it was going to be like anything to come out of it, and then it literally exploded, and America was never the same. I mean, get to hear stories from my mom about how like her parents and her went to go watch it, and like how everyone was crazy about it, and it's great to see. And then that's Star Wars. I love Star Wars to death. Then Mass Effect, it's also a space game about how you're a hero trying to work for Earth and like, you know, put their place in the galaxy with aliens and all this stuff. But every so often a giant alien race comes and wipes the galaxy clean. So your job is to save the galaxy. And who doesn't want to have a great adventure story like that? And that's why Mass Effect is one of my favorite video games of all time. Original, the Mass Effect 1, super fun. I have like 10 different K-pop posters on my wall, and I have a singular video game and non-K-pop related poster, and that's Mass Effect. And that's why it deserves to be up there, because it's amazing. And they're remaking it, so if you've never played it, there's a great chance coming in May to play it for the first time. They're remastering it for console and PC, so you can enjoy it all together as one coherent story.
Is it coming to the Switch?
Probably not. Maybe. I don't think so. EA doesn't really like to do that.
Bummer.
But yeah, if you haven't played them, play it. It's great. And right now, I am reading the Expanse series, which is also very politically driven. I like politics in space because it makes a world more real, because when you add things that are like, oh, stuff that are in real life world, it makes it better. I don't know. It's one of the common themes I've noticed throughout a lot of space stuff is they always like to add politics into it with alliances and races, and there's a lot of ways to talk about that, and I think they do a good job with it. Because humanity always seems to be united as one, because that's how, you know, you'd hope that if it'd churn out, where everyone doesn't matter, everyone's one race and everyone's one people, and that's what's cool about space. I like that. So, yeah, The Expanse, great book series. I literally bought like half the series for my birthday. It's been a great ride. It's going in crazy ways that I never thought. But yeah, space. Space is great. I love space. I'm a simp for space.
One of your
I literally just spent the whole day building the ISS out of Legos.
Today.
It was a great birthday present for my family.
Nice. Star Wars has been that series. I agree with you, Dan. That just like, especially in cinema for me, it's just been so influential. The original trilogy, and like even the prequel trilogy. As much as some of that has its faults, I still definitely
the memes
have some
though. The prequel memes.
The memes.
Okay.
I have some fond, especially compared to the newest trilogy. I have a lot more fondness in some ways for the prequel trilogy.
I think it's just more
even
fun
though it's not
because,
perfect.
you know.
It's literally transcended 3 different generations at this point.
It
So that's why
has.
it's cool to see. It's like
It's
everyone
funny
has their
too.
own their own series with it. So
And my brother too with Star Wars. I remember he was so obsessed. Oh my god. I remember when he was like 6 or 7, he was like, I think he was like Obi-Wan for Halloween. But he still wore this costume till he couldn't fit in it anymore. And every time he played a Star Wars movie, he would just dress up in that outfit, get a lightsaber, and try to imitate
Oh my
the
god.
fight scenes. And it's one of the dorkiest. It's probably the most dorkiest thing he ever has done. Because now
I mean,
he's like
that
an
was my
atypical
life. I
sports
can't tell
head.
you how many times
He's not that
played
much
like
of a nerd
that.
at all, though. But that's probably like the dorkiest shit he's ever done in his life. And I'm like, this is
Hell yeah.
so adorable. I am totally telling your future kids about this. Absolutely. I'm sorry, brother, but it was endearing, and like I loved it. I'm like, oh my god, you love the same thing I love too. Of course, he's probably not as a crazy fan of it, but he'll probably just be chill and watch it. I think But it
I
just
try to
reminds me of
settle
that.
down, but I remember when the 7th movie, The Force Awakens, came out. We went to a dinner party, and I literally talked. What was it, like 4 hours straight, not letting anyone speak? It was. I literally lost my voice the next day. How much I was
Oh my
talking Star
God.
Wars the whole time. I never even
Dude,
realized
that's
time was passing. It was like one of those, like, I just couldn't stop talking. It was so weird. And then afterward, I'm like, huh. And then they're just like, are you done? And I'm just like, oh my gosh, guys, I'm so sorry. Like,
No, you weren't.
all my social, like, cues went out. I went full nerd and it just forgot life existed outside of, like, my theories and talking. Which were all for naught, of course, because the movie went in totally different. I remember it very differently. That's why I'm saying this.
Let's see
the Lucas
there's two
version of
sides to every
this.
story. What's the other one?
The Lucas side to this story was going to the movies, and for reference, I'm kind of a nerd, but not.
You're not a space
I'm
nerd.
like,
Not a space nerd.
not a space nerd, and also not, socially
Obsessed.
inept. So
I mean, I did say afterward, I had
so
no
how
clue
did
what was
God.
going on.
we go to the movies.
God.
We watched the movie. It was fine. I remember it was like my first, because I didn't remember going to see the prequels because I was like,
We were too young, Luke.
Yeah,
You
I was
were
like 4.
born when the first one came out. Like,
yeah, I was like small child, so I was not alive to see those. So this was like the first like Star Wars movie that I saw in theaters, and it was like a big moment. So I was pretty hype about it. It was pretty cool. So I watched it, and I was like, it wasn't that great. It was whatever, It was a movie. I was kind of disappointed with it. It was like whatever, and then I was kind of done. But what we didn't realize is that we had somewhere to be after that, which had 2 other kind of big nerds there, and then it was supposed to last, like 2 hours maybe? Like, we were going to go do a thing, maybe play some games, and, like, have dinner. And then it turned into him staying there. I was driving you home, right? I'm pretty sure.
no. This was we were at just having dinner with the guys. It was Ben and
Yeah, I remember
Dogs
who
and
was...
Ben.
No,
Poor
didn't I
Ben.
drive you home, though?
No, I don't remember.
I'm pretty sure I did.
No, this is a different time that you're thinking of.
We were at a dinner, and I think it was supposed to last maybe 2 hours-ish. I remember being there. I think we were there till like 11. I'm pretty
It was
sure.
late. It was
Like
very
11,
late.
11:30. And I remember I said maybe 5 words the entire time. Because it was literally Dan talking to these 2 people for like 4 hours. And I remember having to sit there and sit next to the other 3 people that were at that dinner, just looking at each other, just being like,
What's
Dude.
going on?
It was bad.
What are
I didn't
like,
realize
that
how
happened?
bad it was when I saw everyone's food gone and mine was still full, and that's when it hit me, and I was just
So
like,
you've been
oh,
doing
no.
this, but this was too long.
this has been
That's
like
when it
40
hit me.
minutes.
I was just
We're
like,
all done.
oh,
We're waiting for
no.
you to finish eating.
Or to start,
But you
really.
literally have been not
To
eating.
start,
you
my
were
food was
that
cold, dude.
person.
My food was cold. I was
And then you had
talking
to
Whose fault was
nonstop.
that?
Mine. I had so much fun. It was like when I have it as a good memory in my brain because it was like my
It was a
nerdiest
shocking
moment.
memory. Yeah, that was a crazy night. I do remember that night, just being like, "Wow, I didn't know he could be like this."
I guess it's a good thing.
Is it?
I mean, like, you didn't know I could be that nerdy.
That's a good
mean,
thing.
Points
you
for
managed
me.
to hide it
I
for
mean, I've
that
been
long?
hiding it
Was that
well,
the good part?
clearly.
That you managed to hide it for that long?
Yeah, it was my my secret life as a Dan teenager.
All right.
All right. Speaking of
Teenagers.
speaking of stuff that we've already talked about
Oh,
prior,
yes.
actually, but I do have some
Actually.
stuff. I will say after you're done, Lucas, with this one, I do have stuff to add to it because more news
Yes,
came out
yes.
about the
Yes,
topic
yes.
that
Oh, yeah.
you're talking about.
We do have some. I'm gonna talk about Avatar. Specifically
Not the
Last
fucking
Airbender, not
stupid blue.
The
no,
sci-fi?
get the fuck
Oh,
outta here.
guys, I
Get
could
the
talk
fuck
about
outta
that
here.
for so.
The movie.
That movie,
fuck,
no.
the
Also, the blue
movie.
people avatar can get the fuck
The
out.
blue
That can
sci-fi
get the
novel.
fuck
Avatar is
out.
what I'm talking
Movie.
about. Not the.
And
That
if you're
one.
curious about
All the
more
movies
thoughts
called
about Avatar: The
Avatar
Last
are bad.
Airbender,
Putting it out
me and Kayla did an episode
did. We
ranking
tier
all
ranked
the
every
Avatar: The Last
episode.
Airbender episodes.
Yeah, that
so
was an
go
episode
check
I
that
didn't
one
want to
out.
be there for because I'm not the hugest fan, not as much as these people, but I did have a lot of.
Is Avatar
I
the
watched it
only
for
show
the
we've
first
all
time.
seen?
Oh,
I
maybe.
think it
Last
might be
year
the
was the
only
first
show
time I
we've all
watched
seen.
Maybe, honestly.
That's
Dang.
impressive, honestly.
It's the one.
I mean, it makes sense.
does.
Like that is the one that everyone
Yeah,
should.
you
Yeah.
should see it.
Right?
We're all on the same page. We all.
For cartoon, for American cartoon,
God,
yeah.
it's like
That's
God
pretty
tier,
kinda
God
crazy.
tier show.
God tier.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I watched it in high school. Which
I
was
also
way
watched
later
it in
than
high
it
school,
came
actually.
out.
I watched it
You
last
did
year.
watch it
for
last
the
I
year.
first
watched
time.
it when
Can
it
we
was
talk about
airing.
I
Dan's
watched
trip
it when
with
it was
watching
airing,
Avatar?
too.
Because this
It
is
was airing.
great.
I don't remember.
So what happened was I watched it in high school and was all about it. Was like, dude, this is so sick. This is so good. Cried during the ending, you know, the whole shebang.
Yeah.
Had a great time. Went to Dan and was like, yo, bro, this is fire. This show is sick. You gotta check it out.
Which is
Last
why
Airbender
I
is
proceeded to
so
not
cool.
watch it.
And then
Oh
Dan
my
was like,
God.
yeah, sure, dude. That sounds awesome. I love that you love this show. I'm going to watch it for you because it sounds awesome. Watches the first episode. That's all right. Watches the second episode. All right.
Never.
Stops.
We watched the first season.
No, you
Calm
didn't.
No,
you
you
watched
did
the
not.
first. You
That
watched
is
the
incorrect.
first
Watch the
3
first
episodes,
3.
like 5 times.
Like,
five
two or
different
three
times.
You've
episodes?
never
Yeah, I
said-
like
have.
5
Yeah,
times.
every time you tell
Literally
this story,
5
you never
times.
say you watched the first.
You've watched the
season.
first 3
You then
episodes 5
proceed
times.
to buy. After all of this, you proceed to buy the DVD box set for it, and then do not watch it.
Literally,
ever.
has
That's
never
true.
watched
Last
that
year.
box set.
That's true.
Bitch, I got the art books. I got both that and Korra on like Blu-ray and like
I
all
just
the
watched it
shows
on Netflix
Yeah.
as well. I didn't even watch it through my
I
box
watched it on
that I
Netflix
spent
again,
money
like-
on.
Oh
Yeah,
my
I own the
God.
box sets
So, yeah,
of that and
upsetting.
of Korra, and I have the Avatar art book. So
I have
the
art
art book,
books. I
yeah.
have like 4.
I don't have
of
the
them.
Korra art books, but I have the original Avatar: The Last Airbender art book.
I do too. I have like 3 of the Korra art books.
I've been meaning to buy one of the Korra art books. I think those are really cool too.
Yeah.
I have not seen
Korra's
Korra.
very.
Because of
Okay.
reputation.
I was about to say it's
I
very
watched
good.
2 seasons
Korra,
of
Korra
it.
is
It's
good.
good.
I think it's just hard to compare, and when you know some of the behind the scenes of the stuff that
Yeah.
went down, like
Yeah.
it's a lot
watched-
of Nickelodeon interference. I
Yeah.
think kind of ruined it.
It has
Because
it
of
has some
success,
pretty
right?
high highs, Korra, but it also is a
Let's
bit
put
of
it
a
this way:
hot mess.
if Korra aired during this time frame, I think it would have rounded out to be a much better written show and much
It's because
better
they-
received in the long run.
Yeah.
But luckily, people seem to
Yeah, it's
like it
because they
now,
didn't
and
know they
it-
were getting renewed
so
for
it's
more
good.
seasons, so they had to write each season individually, and and they only got 12 episodes a season, so it means the plot is very rushed and kind of underdeveloped for each of them. But
which I blame
Yeah.
Nickelodeon on a lot of for kind of blue balling them. But anyways, sorry to hijack your thing, Lucas, but the more exciting news is that we're getting an Avatar Studios.
We are.
Bitches. We're getting Avatar Studios. Don't know when, but apparently the first project is going to be released next year, and it's going
It's
to
an
be
animated
a
film,
So I
too.
am excited. An animated fucking
Not by
film. I
M.
can't.
Night
no, not by M
Shyamalan.
Night Shyamalan, and it's
No.
not the bad Netflix remake that the creators both left because it was going off the rails.
Netflix remake.
Oh,
I
yeah,
know.
that too. I
I'm
haven't seen
so
that.
glad Nickelodeon saw how much
Yeah.
people love this franchise and are finally willing to actually invest in it. And luckily with streaming, I think it will benefit them.
I think
in the
it'll be
long run.
better for that because I mean
Yeah.
it started off as like a TV streaming kind of thing, and then they started doing all these other things, and it kind of like went off the rails, and they're just like, oh wait, let's just go back to like that again.
But yeah, I'm excited. I am super excited. I hope though I hope they will give them the quality and the chance to do well with the shows. But there's so many possibilities they can go.
I want them to adapt the Kyoshi
They can
novels.
get
That
the
would be
money
fun.
out of it really easily.
To
What'd you
adapt
say,
the
Kayla?
Kyoshi novels into something, that would be really cool.
Yes. I don't know if they will, but yes. I
I've
wouldn't
also
complain about that.
I've been listening to a podcast recently. It's called Aang in There, and it's on the Rob Has a Podcast podcast network, and they have been doing episode recaps of like every single episode in Avatar: The Last Airbender, and I find it very fun that they can have like 1 to 2 hour episodes about a 22-minute like TV show. But they're very good. They're very fun, and I'm enjoying that a lot recently. So I've like kind of been rewatching the show again through that podcast. So, but yeah,
At some point, I need to rewatch Korra though. We gotta get a Korra
I haven't.
episode
It's been
at
a
some
while since I
point.
rewatched Korra, but I did tier rank all the episodes while I watched it. So just to
I did
prepare,
tier rate the first
Yeah.
season. I just need to find the document for it, but I did do the first season. At
I
least.
do want to
But
make a Korra
life has
episode
been-
though. I feel like it's like I feel like it's necessary.
And also, it's a good episode to do to like, if any more news comes out, we can just
Right.
spill it there. And plus, I could mention the
Yeah.
Kyoshi novel.
Oh, I remember when we recorded the first episode, we
we
were talking about how the Netflix live action remake was happening, and then since then it's gone off the rails completely.
we gotta
Yeah.
update that at some point. But at least we came back.
did.
with
We got
good
better
news, so it's
news,
good
yeah.
that we kind of held out. Assuming that they assuming they're not like, oh, JK, Avatar Studios not happening anymore, then I'll be fucking
like,
pissed.
fuck
I'll be
you.
like, fuck you, Nickelodeon. Suck a dick. Suck 1,000 dicks, you pieces of shit.
Anyways.
Sorry.
That's aggressive. That's very
It's so
aggressive.
aggressive. It's fine.
I'm sorry. But like I was pissed. I was really pissed at the time when I was watching Korra how they handled
That was
Korra.
horrible because
Like,
I
get
did
it.
watch
I get it.
Korra as it was airing like on TV.
Oh god, I remember when they took it
I
off
know,
the air
what if the
midway through
last
book
season?
3.
I'm like, what the
I
fuck
was
are you
so
doing?
fucking pissed by that. I was like, what the fuck? Is this over?
Oh my God.
What the fuck? I was so pissed. And then I remember Brian Konitsko being all like, well,
Yeah.
explain, guys, hold on. And then they made it only on
It was
Nickelodeon.
that was
only, which I
very
guess
upsetting.
it was nice. It was nice that they did allow them to
Right.
finish the series. I'll give them that. That was nice of Nickelodeon to do. But like, also Nickelodeon, maybe you should have put the show in a different time
Yeah.
spot and not move it around so frequently. That was partially your
I think
fault.
a lot of it was
Sorry.
Nickelodeon's fault. Yeah.
I mean, granted, at the same time, the creators also could have like, knowing that what they had, they could have focused on certain other aspects
Right.
instead of what they did decide to focus on, like with the stupid love triangle bullshit
Yeah.
and all that
Oh,
jazz.
that was
Which
pretty
Which
awkward.
is like, I'm sorry, that did not pan out well, and I still kind of have issues with some of the plot points from Harmonic. I'm gonna spoil this.
Convergence.
Too. Yeah,
That was
I'm
kind of
just
cool.
kinda
That was
like-
a cool. I like
Oh
that
my god, I
season a
hate
lot.
season
Cool,
two.
but it was-
It's the worst. Season
Season
two
2
is the
was
worst
fun.
season.
Season 2 had so
Season
much
3
potential.
made
Oh
me
my god,
stop
season 3 is like
caring.
one of the best seasons.
What?
Season
Season
2
2 is
sucks,
amazing.
Dad.
Oh, Dad. Season 3 was like what made
I
me
know
really
season 2
root
is what
for
got me back
Korra.
into Korra because season 2 sucked so much.
Season 2 had a lot of potential for me, but it just wasn't.
Oh, the
executed
execution
well.
was
and that's the
horrible,
thing
yeah.
that frustrated it because it had a cool
Because
idea.
I think
but
it
they
was
just
because it
didn't
is
pan
also the
out
first
well.
book that Korra had that wasn't named after one of the 4 elements too, because it was spirit and they had done all 4 elements up to then, and so I really liked the idea of them going into like the spirit world and everything involved in that, but it just was really bad. Like the storytelling was
It was
horrible.
politics. That's why I liked it.
Well, that was cool. Those aspects were cool, but I just felt like the way they put it together just felt very choppy.
Yeah.
Like the beginnings part.
Oh, you know
thought
what I
was
also
cool.
I figured
thought-
out that I hated about
yeah.
Korra as the season went on is
Was the
so-
beginnings?
that episode was actually I really liked the style and like what they were trying to do with it, how it does not fit into the overall Avatar like lore at all. But I do enjoy I
Yeah.
appreciate it for like as a standalone type of a thing. But I realized that season 2, 3, and 4 in Korra, there are very large stretches of time where Team Avatar is not together. And I think that's what I disliked about it so much is we're splitting the storyline among like way too many things. And I didn't like that because I
And that's a
wanted them
frustrating
interacting
thing.
together, but like season 4 especially, Korra's off by herself half the time. Korra's by herself half the time in season 2, and season 3 there's like shit all over the place, and I'm like, I wasn't really about that.
Yeah, I wish that we got more episodes too to flesh out some other characters,
Yeah.
frankly, and just to give them more. I think that's why some people just didn't like it, was that lack of group
Because they were
cohesiveness.
never together, so they
you
never
know?
got the chance to like develop the friendship as much as they did in like the original season. So
Yeah, and honestly, even though maybe at the time, with how they viewed the same-sex relationships, I felt like I didn't even get at first.
I
that
know
Cora
I didn't
and
pick
Sami
up
were
on
together at
I
the
didn't
end.
pick
was
up
so
on it at all.
confused.
Like
I felt, and I rewatched it back like a long time ago, and I still felt like there
I feel
wasn't
like they
enough
weren't doing
hints
anything
to like be
for
like
it.
it came out of
Yeah.
left field for me. Like that's the thing. Maybe Nickelodeon was kind of being bitchy about that. Who knows? But at the same time, like if that's the case, if it's either you go big or you don't
Right.
show it. Then like they did flesh it out more in the comics,
Right,
obviously, because they had the chance to do that. But like, it was kind of like one of those things that I'm just like, maybe it's Nickelodeon's fault, but I also think the writers could have just made it slightly more obvious that there was something else going on, because it felt like a close friendship. All right. Anyways, I'll move on
Yes.
to myself, which is going to be. So I guess this is essentially broadly Disney, mainly animation, but a little bit of live action films, because, I mean, I think a lot of us, the ladies at least, can, and a lot of people in general coming from the States can say how influential Disney was, especially if you were born or grew up in the 90s to early 2000s, like Disney films coming out at that time. And they were definitely a huge, huge part of my childhood, along with older Disney films too, especially animated films. I have it on my Hinge profile page because I have Hinge. That Pirates of the Caribbean, The Curse of Black Pearl, is the best live action Disney film, for me at least. Of course, some may argue that's fine, but for me, it's like one of those easy go-to films that I can just like watch and just chill and have fun. It's just a fun film for me. It's like one of my favorite fun films, besides like say Star Wars or Indiana Jones. But and also it's just nice to have a pure action film like that, because I feel like we don't really get like pure fun action films as much anymore, which is a shame. And I wish they make a comeback at some point, but that aren't tied to superheroes and whatnot. No shade to superheroes, but just like animated Disney, like they were so influential to me. Like my first big fangirl moment was at 18 months old.
18 months
I think
old.
I might have told this story before in this podcast, but it was when my parents, for some reason, they decided to take me to Disney World at 18 months old. Their choice, I guess. But I basically tackled Winnie the Pooh in Epcot.
Oh, I
Oh my
love
God.
Winnie the Pooh.
And I ended up getting a photo of him and Tigger and like a
Aw,
signed
that's cute.
letter
That's cute.
as a kid, because I literally like belly flying squirrel hugged him. 'Cause I was freaking out about Pooh.
I love Winnie the Pooh.
I still have it. I have
We love
it.
Winnie the
I don't
Pooh.
have it with me right now, but my mom
We
has
stand
it
Winnie the
stored
Pooh
away
here.
still to this day. And like, so like Winnie the Pooh was a huge influence. And I honestly, I'm obviously not like a crazy Winnie the Pooh fan, but like still to this day, I have like the Tao Pooh book.
Aw.
Like I have that because I'm like,
I think
he
it's
is. He's
okay
a
to say
great-
you
he's a
stand
great
Winnie the
dude.
Pooh. That's
Standing
pretty-
Winnie the Pooh is a great decision.
I got
Of
that
all
as a
the
gift,
things you
though.
can
Winnie
stand.
the Pooh.
Winnie
on
the
this
Pooh
planet, Winnie the Pooh.
up there.
I think
Yeah.
I've definitely put Eeyore as a model for my life.
I mean,
I'm gonna be
Eeyore
Eeyore
is
is
an
so
icon.
much more
Icon.
relatable as an adult now. It's not even
Eeyore
funny.
is very
Dude.
relatable as an adult.
Eeyore is one of my
You know who else is
people I
oddly
look up
really
to
relatable
as a model
as an adult
for
is
human
also
life.
Piglet.
Piglet, yes.
Piglet's
Yeah.
very
Honestly,
relatable
yeah.
as an adult.
It's crazy how I didn't really understand him as a
I
kid, but
get
now
it.
as
You
an
get it
adult, I'm
now.
like,
I think
God
a lot
damn,
of
it
I
makes
think a
sense.
lot of
So
those characters are
precious.
much more relatable as an adult
Oh, for
than as
sure.
a child. So many of them.
Which is why
And
I think
it-
it's so
yeah.
good, right?
It's
I
such
love
an
it
interesting
so
look
much.
too about like childhood
Yeah.
and like growing up,
Mhm.
especially dude.
I
I,
mean,
cried,
it
my
is
mom, and
one
my
of
sister
those-
cried at the
yes.
Christopher Robin movie.
Aw.
Like,
Dude, that
That's
movie is so
movie's a
sad.
lot.
Oh my
that movie
God.
was
I will
perfect.
say that's a
Ewan
story
McGregor,
that
love
does
him.
hit. It's one of my favorite things. I love Winnie the Pooh. I've always loved Winnie the Pooh, and it's just one of those stories that just I can still watch it. It's made for children. It is very much for children.
it is targeted towards
It
kids.
is targeted
yeah.
toward children. But like adults, like as an adult, I'm just like, no, this is very fun and the most wholesome thing in the world. I adore it.
Literally.
I'm gonna disagree with you to the point where I think it's designed for adults, but kids can understand it because there's a very like
Interesting.
I don't
I
know
agree with
because
this.
I don't
Interesting.
think. I
Like-
mean, it is. it was written
Does that
for
make
children.
sense?
Like the
So-
thing with it is that it
It
is
is
a children's
children.
novel.
It's a kid's book.
made for a
Yeah.
for his
But-
son. Like it is it is a
Yes.
novel he made for his son. Like it is made for
Yeah, AML.
Yeah. So I do think
Yeah.
that it is.
I kind of compare it to something like a I mean, I guess at least the topic at hand is more, for kids.
Yeah,
probably.
I think that the
Because
thing
I think
of
of like something like a Calvin and Hobbes where I loved it as a kid, and it's like kids can enjoy it, but it's definitely for adults.
I think the difference
as
with Winnie the Pooh is that it is a lot of that is just. I mean, I think that especially now you have the thing of just like smart children's media, and I think that this is the
Yeah.
prime example of smart children's media where it is made for like the morals and the lessons there are for specifically for children in a way that they'll understand. But as an adult, you gain that appreciation for it in that way, where it's like it's just really smart.
Yes.
It's not an insult to it that's saying it's made for children. It's more things that are made for children should treat children. It treats children not as if they are children, but as if they are just people.
The same
They're
playing
the same
field.
playing
Yeah,
field
the
as
same
an
level.
adult, just simplified for a child,
I also
as
want
opposed
to.
to being directed to a much more of a toddler
Yeah.
mentality.
Yeah.
I want to give a shout out to pretty recent Pixar films because I feel like the recent
Yes.
Do the same
they do
thing.
the exact same thing. So in particular, stretch of
Inside
movies,
Out? Oh my
yeah,
God.
and
Inside
there's
Out
a stretch of
especially.
movies that go from Coco, Incredibles 2, Toy Story 4, Onward, and Soul, and it's just those are the most recent Pixar movies, and I enjoyed every single one of those movies immensely because yes, they are directed towards children's, but a lot of them have such more adult themes and lessons to them that I really like.
I think I cried for
I can't really comment on those because I
Coco
haven't
is
seen
great.
most of them
Neither
yet
have
besides
I.
Inside Out.
Dude,
but
I
yeah.
think I cried.
I cried
for
at
a half
Onward a
hour.
lot. I really liked Onward. Yeah.
Onward was. I think you've seen Onward, right, Luke?
Onward
have
is
not.
you.
Oh my! You
Onward's
need
really
to watch
good.
it. It's all about bros,
Yeah.
Luke. That's why I was having a hard time watching it.
Aw.
It's worth it. Trust.
Yeah, it's the same thing as Inside
Yeah.
Out. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
Or Inside Out's that same just kind of fucked up that this is wait, kids watch this. I feel like
Soul
it's just
in
designed for
particular,
adults.
it was a very weird movie because I'm this is a children's movie, but it's very much not a movie for children at all.
Yeah.
That one was
Yeah.
a weird one.
Yeah, also original Incredibles and
Yeah,
Incredibles
Incredibles
2
2
to
I
an
really
extent. I feel
liked.
like it's the same thing.
I think that's Incredible 2 is
the original Incredibles is also is this a
original
kids'
Incredibles
movie?
is really great.
Because they're arguing.
and also,
they're, gonna
Up.
get a divorce, maybe.
Up
What's
is
going
also
on?
just an
It's
emotional
I mean,
journey.
it's supposed to
what's
struggles in
going
a
on?
family.
Yeah.
The first
But then
the
it's also
first
haha superheroes.
5
and
minutes
it's
of Up is just the most emotional experience
Oh, the
ever.
actual.
Oh God, Up.
I think that's
It's
just
like,
bait
oh
at
my
this point,
God,
right? It's just
Oh my god.
Oh my God.
you just want me to be as sad as possible. Thank you. This is great.
But I do
love
also
Friends.
I want to take it back before we get too off track with it though. With particularly the Disney animation films, and I also would shout out to Mary Poppins, although I didn't watch Mary Poppins
I
too
really
much as
like
a kid,
Mary
but I
Poppins.
appreciate Mary Poppins way more as an adult.
Yeah.
But as for the animation, it definitely gave me, I think honestly, older Disney animated films are the reason why I think I love anime in a way so much.
Yeah.
Because of I love the 2D looking style so much. To me, it's so classy, and I love the way they tell the stories. I like Snow White. I have a greater appreciation for. Obviously Cinderella is great. For me, the biggest ones are definitely The Lion
The
King
Lion
and The
King.
Jungle Book. I
Honestly,
absolutely
yeah.
love those films.
What I will say is that
so big.
if you
And
go
Beauty and the
back and
Beast,
watch
Beauty and the
Sleeping
Beast.
Beauty, that is maybe one of the most gorgeous films I've ever seen.
Sleeping Beauty is
It's
amazing.
gorgeous.
I'm mad I didn't watch it more as
Yeah.
a kid because it is such
That,
an amazing
I think
film.
that's the
Also,
it looks so good,
yeah.
which is I think why I watched it so much as a kid. It just looked it looks different. If you actually go back and watch that movie, it looks different than all the other Disney movies at the time. And it had a
They put
very
in a lot
unique
of
art
money and
style.
almost,
oh yeah.
Yeah,
they
the
almost-
scenery
To be
is-
They
honest
put in
with
so
that,
much
my
there
favorite
will never
Disney
be
one
another
is-
movie made with such precision as that movie because oh my god, it's amazing.
they put in a
So
ton of
much
money, I can
money.
tell you,
Yeah.
for
All
that
the money
movie.
in the
They
world
definitely
went
did.
into that.
I grew up in a
Shout out
very
to the-
Disney-centric
Go ahead.
household. Like, my family has a Disney Christmas tree. Like, I've been to
Oh, that's adorable.
Disney World is like the only place I would take vacations as a child because my mom absolutely loves it, and so it very much was like a very, very large part of like my childhood and growing up, and it kind of still is today too. So because I still will essentially watch every Disney like animated movie that comes out. So.
I mean, also other films too that I discovered when I was older, thanks to like Toon Disney, especially like Robin Hood. Oh man, I fucking
Robin
love
Hood was
Robin
one of the
Hood.
ones we
It was
watched.
so
a
Oh, I
ton
want to
of.
give a shout out to.
It was so
It was in
much fun.
Portuguese, Luke. You know.
Was it in Portuguese? I
Yep.
don't remember.
was so
Beauty and the
much fun,
Beast,
yeah.
Brazilian
Wait,
Portuguese, was
which
the
is the one
first
I did
movie I ever
in
watched.
I've seen.
We watched all of them in Portuguese.
No,
'cause that's
there's
all
one
I had.
I watched.
I also ended up watching Hercules a
love
ton thanks to my
Hercules.
life.
I didn't watch
Yeah,
Hercules.
Hercules.
They played it
So
so
good. I
love
much in high
Hercules.
school.
I think I
They
Won't
play-
Say I'm in Love is like one of my
It's
And
good.
Mulan.
It's
Oh,
very
Mulan.
good.
I can't say
Original
it
Mulan
without
is
Mulan.
great. Shout out to Treasure
I love
Planet
Treasure
Space.
Planet, actually. Treasure
Shut
Planet's
up.
actually great.
Treasure Planet's fun. Yeah.
Treasure
It
Planet's
is good,
fun.
but shut up. It's space. No.
I like it because it's more
Shout-
steampunk
also,
based.
go if you haven't. There's a YouTube that talks about the history and the story behind that movie and everything that happened with it, and like the technology used in the movie and stuff. Go watch it.
It
It's
is a
I
very
watch it.
beautifully
That's for us or
animated
whatever
movie.
it
That's
is.
Treasure
fun.
Planet.
Yeah,
Also-
yeah, yeah. It's I've watched it
Yeah.
every other year. I feel like it's
Treasure
so
Planet's
good.
like really good.
Yeah. Another one I loved, and this is just a very underappreciated one. I love both Lady and the Tramp and the Aristocats so
Oh,
much.
I love the
Oh, good,
Aristocats.
same.
I love the
I absolutely love
Aristocats.
that
Aristocats.
film.
Amazing.
I love
Aristocats,
them both. My
that.
cousin, oh my god,
Uh,
my cousin was so obsessed with the Aristocats back in the day.
Aristocats
She
are
loved it.
icons.
I love those.
I had
They are
I
so
had so
iconic.
many
And
stuffed
Lady the Tramp
I had
is
so many
amazing.
stuffed
I
animals
love
of like
it.
Marie growing up.
I love
Oh my
Marie so
God.
much. She's my fave. Oh,
I love her.
that.
The Aristocats.
I
is
love those two films.
amazing.
I'm glad you said them, Sammy,
Yeah.
because I fucking
Lady
love
and
those
the
two
Tramp
films
is
as well.
I love Lady and the Tramp too. So much.
Lady and the Tramp's
They're
great. Oh, I love that film so much as a kid. I was so happy when my mom got it for me
Yeah.
on DVD for Christmas one year. I was like freaking out. I absolutely loved it. And like I don't know. And like I have to mention this story too about my brother again. He loved Toy Story so much as a kid. He wore down the VHS tape, and like when they were still like not a Blockbuster, but it was like called Videomat near where I lived. They were able. He loved it so much. My mom took it there to get him to fix the tape and to get it to work again. She actually
Oh my
managed to get it
god.
Oh my god.
Oh no, we just
and
broke Star
it's
Wars.
funny because I also broke like a Winnie the Pooh tape too as well, and my mom actually did rebuy it on VHS for
Aw.
me, even though at that point I
Dude,
didn't watch it too
VHS
much.
tapes.
That's cute.
My mom knew, like she was like she had. Grant, I wouldn't say was the Disney kid. I was
I'm having
definitely
just
the
like
Disney
a,
kid. My
a
brother,
flashback of all the times I've like ruined VHS tapes as a
Yeah.
child.
Yeah, I ruined a bunch.
Yeah, we're like the last
Yeah.
generation that like
Yeah,
used
we-
VHS
Well,
tapes.
not
y'all.
not Disney, but I did ruin when I was a very young child the Rugrats in Paris.
Oh.
That's the one I ruined.
Oh man.
Love the Rugrats as
Yeah.
a child.
Mhm.
But
Oh,
yeah,
my
Disney
shit.
was a huge part of it, and in a way still is. Although I'm not. For me, I feel like I'm a little bit more cynical.
I mean,
well, I
I'm
wouldn't say
very-
cynical, but
it's-
more critical of the company
Oh,
itself.
yeah.
'Cause I'm
Company
like,
is
I feel like they're making
terrible.
decisions
Let's
that I'm
be
just
The
like, what the
decisions,
hell are
a
you
lot of
doing?
the decisions have been very questionable
I mean,
recently. Yeah.
So I hope that they kind of go back
They're
to
too
the
big for
roots in
that.
a way at some
Eh.
point, but
Wolf
in
was
some ways,
also very-
mainly the thing that holds out for me is their animation division, because the rest of the company I'm kind of just
The
like,
live action
"Oh,
Disney
what are you
stuff is
doing?"
very,
Here's
very
Yeah,
not
it's
great.
very questionable. But like, I don't.
No, for the most
even
part,
with the
no.
going back
Yeah.
to the roots, if you go back to the roots of that company, it's also very questionable.
I mean, that's very true.
True.
It's very questionable.
It's true.
Also, this is a fun question to end it on. Favorite
Yeah.
live action, favorite animated Disney.
Oh god.
I don't think
oh,
we've ever
God. I'm
answered
on the
Live action
spot.
easily Black Pearl. Animated, that's tough because there's too many, but for different reasons. It has to be The Jungle Book, The Lion King, and like Winnie the Pooh. The Many Adventures of
Yeah.
Winnie the Pooh. Those three for me are just will always
Oh, I
be,
got
like,
mine.
super
I have
special for me.
I have it now. I just realized. I remember that this was a Disney
Yeah.
movie. So my favorite live action Disney movie is National Treasure.
Oh, I love National
That's a
Treasure.
very
I
good
love
one.
National
I
Treasure
mean,
so
I have
much.
mine. Mine's not any better. What's your animated one?
It's probably The Lion King. I love that so much.
All right.
That was the Frozen of our
Yeah.
It
time
was the
in
Frozen
the
of our
90s,
time because
you
mine
know?
is also The Lion King, and then probably also God, I love Sleeping Beauty. I watched that a lot as a child. And also, my favorite
Sleeping Beauty
live
is
action
amazing.
one is the Lindsay Lohan Parent Trap.
Oh,
I
nice.
watched that
I like
a
that
lot.
one
That's
a
a
lot.
Oh,
That's
yeah, that
a
was
classic.
good.
I
Hell
love
yeah.
that movie.
That was
'Cause,
good.
there's a story behind that. When I was in elementary school, we had, I think, 3 VHS tapes whenever we would have a movie day. And every single time, I don't actually remember what the other 2 were because I don't even think we ever watched the other 2 because when given a choice, we only ever watched the Lindsay Lohan starring Parent Trap. From like 1st grade to like 8th grade. Like that's all we wanted. We just wanted that one. So I think I've seen that movie like 12
Amazing.
times. Minimum.
I mean, that's fair. That's like, a good choice.
Yes.
Like, boys, what do you say? Do you think you've seen enough Disney to...
Oh yeah, I've definitely
I've seen
seen
a lot of
enough. It's
Disney.
just trying to pick one is kind of hard. As for animated, I toss up between Beauty and the Beast and Treasure Planet.
hard to agree with Beauty and the Beast. Like,
So which is
absolutely
when
love
I
that, but-
I really like the live action of Beauty and the Beast.
That was
as
one
well,
of the
just
better
'cause
live
it's-
action movies they made, yeah.
It was
I have
just
not
the
seen
same
that
story,
because
which
That
I
was
I
actually
love,
good.
I love
pretty
the
good.
animated film too
Yeah.
much that
I
I
still
can't.
think the
It
best
just
one
wasn't
is
there.
as someone who
I'm
loved
upset. I
it
like the
again,
Cinderella
watched the
one.
original animated so many times, the live action is fine. It lives up to it because it hit the nostalgia perfectly, and I liked seeing. I mean, I like Emma
See,
Stone. She's great,
Emma
and
Watson?
she did a good
Emma
Belle as well.
Watson.
Emma
Also,
Stone, Emma
Emma
Watson,
I
Stone,
want to
Emma,
give the
whatever.
contrarian point.
Everyone's the same.
Can I?
It's Hermione, fam. It ain't Emma Stone.
Yep.
It's yeah.
I always
Also,
forget.
I
That's
want to
that's
just
another
be
great. I
contrarian
like
in
Emma
that, and
Stone,
I
though.
genuinely hated the live action Beauty and the Beast.
All right. Well, it's not for everyone. It
Exactly.
seems.
I'm just avoiding it because I love.
I
Someone
forgot.
was
I
talking
take
about
that
it.
back.
Thanks.
Take it back.
Throw all of those animated out and into the garbage,
What?
and bring up the best and one and
Oh, good
only Atlantis.
No.
No.
The Last
Alright.
Empire.
No.
Alright.
Oh,
What are
man.
you talking
Relegate him
about?
to-
I
Anyways,
freaking
Lucas, what are your
absolutely
choices?
love that one.
Lucas, moving on.
So-
Say something, please.
I'm not a humongous Disney simp, so I don't think I have any like ones that just pop out as like my super favorite. Like I don't know if I have like a tier list for my favorite ones, but I think my favorite, like the one that probably impacted me the most is, I don't know. I really loved Up. So I think that's
That's a good choice.
like
So
one.
Really
that's a
good.
good
Yeah.
choice.
And then for live action, I don't know. I don't even remember a lot of them.
Narnia was good.
Narnia was
Like
very
Narnia.
good.
Oh yeah, I
forgot
forgot
that
they
was
adapted
Yeah,
Narnia.
they did that. It was very good.
I read Narnia.
Yeah,
I
it
read
is-
The Lion, the Witch, and the
That is good.
Wardrobe.
I can put that on there.
Yeah.
Probably. I don't think it's my favorite,
Yeah.
but
The
I
one you
think it's one of
remember.
the
I
better
played the
ones.
GameCube game for Narnia.
Also,
We did.
I
We
wanna
played it.
mention
We
that-
played it too. We did
It's
too.
very bad.
It wasn't very
Yeah.
good.
It's incredibly
It's very-
mediocre.
I think I got it
Incredibly
for my
mediocre.
birthday, and it was
I
one of those
mean,
I
to
played
be honest,
and only
a lot of video game adaptions of like franchises like that tend to not
Besides
be that good.
Lego
They're quick.
games.
Yeah.
Also,
Besides the
before
Lego
we
games.
move
Lego
on,
games
I
are
want
the
to mention
exception.
2 stories done
I
by
take-
Disney that I will watch any version of, which are Peter Pan and Alice in Wonderland.
Oh,
Love them.
Alice in Wonderland.
Yeah.
Oh, I love
Alice
Alice
in
in Wonderland.
Wonderland.
Peter Pan.
That was our
Oh my
first
God.
movie
Peter
at the
Pan.
cinema.
They've
Was
been adapted
the sequel.
18,000
Michael Jackson
times.
loved Peter Pan.
I will watch, I think, any type of Alice in Wonderland, like,
Oh, yeah.
adjacent thing.
I
I
hate
will watch
everything
Oh,
Alice,
weren't you
to do
just
with
both
that.
Alice in Wonderland and
the
Peter
weird-
Pan I will just watch.
Mhm.
Kayla, weren't you just playing the weird?
Oh, yeah,
Alice in
I was just playing.
Wonderland
I love
themed
Alice in
game
Wonderland
that's
so
really
much.
fucked up?
It's very fun.
Alright.
I think we
Anyways,
need to-
Yeah.
I also love Hercules. Oh, I'll put Hercules,
Hercules.
as for
Oh,
one of the
Hercules
old
is
ones.
great.
Because I think
All right.
what is it called? I Won't Say I'm in Love is my
Yeah.
favorite Disney song of all
Oh,
time.
fan! That
I
brings
think
back
that's
so many
actually my
feels.
favorite Disney song of all time.
Mine's I'll
Not
Make
even-
a Man
no
Out
cap.
of You.
That's
Love
pretty
that.
great,
That's
too.
a bop.
Yeah.
That's also top
It's a
tier.
bop.
But
That's
Top
pretty good.
tier.
for the
Alright.
the like the deep cut, that's actually like one of the best. Is
Everybody wants to be a cat.
Don't say I'm in love. No.
Yeah.
Alright, let's move on.
I
Let's
did
move
an
on.
acapella
Anyways,
version of
moving on.
Everyone Wants to Be a Cat in my college acapella group.
Okay.
Wow.
Side note.
Congratulations.
Lilo and Stitch also
Oh,
pretty
Lilo and
impactful. We have
Stitch.
a
Oh, I
fun
love
home
Lilo
video.
and Stitch.
Lilo and Stitch is
And
great.
also, we sang a song in chorus in 8th grade for Lilo
Oh,
and Stitch
great.
somehow.
It's a great.
We sang Hawaiian. I don't know how, but we did
Oh,
it.
great. I think we need
Anyways,
to keep
okay,
going.
we
We spent
or else
so
we'll
much
just-
time on that.
We need to. It's
We-
getting
we
We'll
late.
do
gotta
an
keep-
episode on this
We gotta keep going.
The
It's getting
entire
late.
episode will just be Disney.
Yes.
gotta get open.
This is gonna be pretty short because my next one is very specific, and then it's the Great British Bake Off. This is literally life changing for me in terms of like consuming like food cooking related content, because I can't watch any other food cooking related content anymore because the Great British Bake Off was too good. Like it's
It
literally
ruins
it
that.
ruined the entire genre for me because it's just so good. And what I love about it is because yes, it is a competition show, but it is so pleasant. I think everyone on the show is such a pleasant person. No one's there to be mean or rude. Everyone is friends and they're nice to each other. And it's great. The judges are also great. Like, they're there to be judges, but they're also pretty pleasant. There's not, like, anyone there who's there to be rude for, like, no reason.
They're not humiliating these people on television.
It's like a gold standard. This show is like a gold standard of what a competition.
It really
type
is.
reality
Like, that's
show
what I
should
want.
be.
I want more shows to be as pleasant as that. Like,
I love this. I love this show. It's like one of my favorite things to watch, especially on Netflix.
oh,
just
it's
to
such
pop
a
in
good
and
show to
watch
just,
an
like, leave
episode.
on in the background while I'm doing other stuff. Like, it's just so pleasant. It's so nice.
Oh,
And
yeah.
as someone who, like, bakes a lot, generally, too, it's also, I enjoy it a lot. It's very fun.
It makes
My
me
mom
want to
watched it
bake,
a
even
lot.
though I don't bake.
Mhm.
But yeah.
Mom is a big fan.
It's one of the better
It's
ones.
very good.
It is the best one. It's, like, literally
the best one.
The best one.
In terms of cooking
In
shows,
terms of cooking
yeah.
shows.
I'd say besides maybe the Netflix like show about like the different like famous chefs.
Oh.
forget
Oh,
what
I know
it's
what you're
called.
talking about.
But that
yeah.
one's
Yeah,
good.
that one's...
That one's good.
Yeah, but that's not... Is that really
But
a
We're not
competition show?
including.
But it's not
Yeah.
competition.
No, it's
though,
like
but
just
it's
like a
just
food cooking thing.
Yeah.
Oh, never mind.
Yeah.
If we're talking
just a food-
specific competition shows, but if we're talking about cooking shows, I just need to talk about Claire.
That
'cause Claire's
doesn't.
a
Well, that
goddess.
doesn't count because
That's
that's a
not- yeah,
I know
YouTube
that's not that.
channel.
Yeah, I didn't know where, but it just cooking content.
Yeah, I used to love
Claire's
Bon Appetit
the
until Bon
goddess.
Appetit fucking self-destructed
Went off the
itself,
rails.
and now that's a disaster.
Yeah, they're just dead. And
Rip
Claire's,
Bon Appetit.
but
Rip
you know
Bon
Claire.
Claire's great. I do watch Claire's content a lot. I do
Yeah,
watch
Claire's
I do
great.
watch a
She's
decent
still
amount of
good, but,
YouTube
you know.
cooking content, so I watch Claire's channel. I also watch Binging with Babish a lot because I love him.
Oh, he's great.
Yeah.
I love him.
But yes,
But yeah,
that's
think
it.
that's it.
All right.
To go to the opposite of that, we're talking about horror movies, guys.
Horror movies.
Well, horror.
Dun,
Boo.
dun.
Nasty.
Yeah. I love horror movies. I don't watch as many of them now because I do end up watching a lot of shows. I genuinely prefer television over movies because, you know, I like the longer form. But there was a period in like high school into college where I just watched so many horror movies and they're so good. Also, I keep up with a lot of current horror. I love Dead Meat. Great channel. They just any of the movies I end up watching are mainly on recommendations from them. I ended up watching a lot of the what's it called? I ended up watching 12 Hour Shift. That's a wild movie. I love Nightmare on Elm Street. All of the Saw movies they go off the rails.
The Saw
but they
movies do
start
go
fine.
off the rails, yeah, but they do
go
that's
off
pretty
the
good
rails,
series.
but they do start fine. Like the
Mhm.
first one is not really that bloody or at all.
Yeah, it does. It goes. The more movies they make, the more
the
it goes
rails.
off the rails.
Oh
It
yeah,
just goes, what is our defining feature? Gore.
Let's just think
do
of
it.
like the more bizarre like ways we can kill people is what
Yeah.
that has become. Yeah.
well yeah, but that's also
Yeah.
Final Destination, which is also like
Oh, that's also yeah.
Rube Goldberg machines of like
Mhm.
Mousetrap essentially.
Yeah.
Then you also have like more things. I also really like The Omen. I don't like zombies. That's the only horror I can't get into.
I hate
don't love
zombies. Oh my God, I hate
actually
zombies.
Is there?
watched
Is it
DayZ.
even considered
Yes.
horror anymore? Zombies, like
Dawn of
where?
the Dead,
Like what?
all the beginning horror. George Romero zombies
I
are
guess.
massively horror. That
I feel
first
like that
movie
genre
has
has been
That
ruined.
first, I
Interesting.
mean, that's different now.
I hate
but
everything
obviously
that's
that first
zombie or
genre has
zombie
a-
tangential.
so-
Like anything
spoilers
zombie
for
related.
Day
is
of
not
the
for
Dead. No, Dawn of the Dead.
I watched DayZ. That was
It.
terrible.
No.
Daisy is a video game, Luke.
I'm the weird one that
No.
hasn't really watched horror
Oh,
at all.
Warzy?
I just
Is that
never
what it
been.
is?
World War
Yeah.
Z.
Warzy, is that what it's called?
It's
DayZ's the
World-
video
World
game. No,
War
Warzy
Z.
is
World
terrible.
And that's also
That's the one
terrible.
with,
Don't worry
what's
about
his
it. You're
name?
allowed to
I
dislike
mean, that's
Daisy.
more horror. I think a lot of zombies are... Zombies are that weird thing where it can be horror adjacent.
Yeah.
For example, like, The Walking Dead and, like, World War Z and all that, I don't consider horror. But something like Train to Busan, and even though I didn't watch this movie and I don't really want to, I would say #Alive is probably
Yeah.
more pure horror. because zombies can just be an action movie, and that's not really horror. But I think that there's a lot of very good horror content now. I love things like The Ring is really good, The Omen's really good.
There's been
I like
like
creepy
a
kids, so I also really like The Exorcist.
There's like a weird like a newer sort of genre of horror that I don't even know how to describe it, but it's things like the Jordan Peele movies, like
Get
Out.
I like those are more
Get Out,
thrillers.
like comedy
yeah,
horror,
so like the
horror?
psychological, because I love like Midsommar and I love like Get Out and like
Oh,
Us.
Midsommar.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a
Parasite.
fantastic movie.
Hereditary is
Hereditary,
a
yeah.
lot. Hereditary's a lot. I would also recommend I mean, Scream is the most fun I've ever had. It's a horror movie. It's pure in itself a horror movie, but so much fun. I adore that movie to hell and back. There's more I had in my brain, and now I'm blanking on all of them. Shit. I would just recommend anything that Dead Meat does. Great movies. They also got me to end up watch the first Basket Case. Don't watch that movie. That movie's insane. That movie's crazy. But, like, horror, especially now, has gotten to be very good. I mean, it's always been good. You just have, like, different... You have slasher, you have more gory, you have Scream ripoffs. You just... Now we're in this era where there's a lot of garbage as well. Because anybody can make a horror movie. But there's a lot of quality. Even things like
I mean, I
fan
feel like it
footage.
was the original B movie, wasn't it? It was always, like, B horror. It was, like, a huge
Not
genre.
necessarily. I mean, yes, but then you've always also had your, like, what they call, like, high horror, which your Rosemary's Baby, your Exorcist, your Psycho. Those are movies that have critical
The
acclaim.
Shining.
The Shining, Alfred
kind of.
Hitchcock
Yeah.
genre, The Omen.
Alfred Hitchcock is
I mean, there's
great.
horror that's been nominated for Oscars. Not much of it, but there's a lot of it. Silence of the Lambs. All of those are pure
Oh,
horror.
yeah,
yeah.
Silence of the Lambs.
All of those are horror films,
Hello,
but there's
Clarice.
just like that more respectable horror
And
aspect.
musicals with Sweeney Todd.
Sweeney
Todd
Todd.
is horror. Cannibalism.
It is.
I like the
Cannibalism,
Sweeney
yeah.
Todd movie. I don't know what I do. Don't have anything against it. The blood looks, the meat looks fake as fuck, but like it's good. It's a good musical.
It's good music.
Good musical.
That's
Good
about all I
musical.
got.
And I don't,
Sweeney
and
Todd.
and the movie is good. I don't know what anybody
My God.
actively dislikes this movie. And then you also
Yeah,
have
I
like,
don't-
you know, you want to go all the way back. You have your monster movies, Frankenstein,
Oh,
Invisible
yeah.
Man,
Those are pretty
Dracula.
Godzilla.
It's some of the
Godzilla.
Godzilla.
Gojira. I love
Gojira.
Godzilla.
Some of the new Godzillas are
Gojira?
cool
What?
looking though.
Or how
I
do they say it in
watched
The,
that.
Japanese?
It's
the
really
Japanese, even the American
Godzilla.
Godzillas don't look half bad, but like
Oh, Dan, how's the new one?
ones.
You watched it?
And I
didn't
think it was exactly what I
mean, a
wanted.
lot of-
It was giant monsters
That's
Yeah,
fighting.
now
lot
each
of
that's
other.
that
now
is
in the
horror
realm of an
adjacent.
action movie now.
Yeah, it's just an action. A lot of the Japanese ones still keep a lot more horror elements than the Western ones.
Japan does horror really well.
I mean, but then
I will
Godzilla's
say.
always been like 50-50, like an action movie or a.
It is an
social
action movie.
commentary.
It was not a horror movie.
No, even the Japanese
I mean, I
ones,
think
like,
you
don't
think back
campy
to.
very
There's a
well.
few of the original. I mean, one could argue the like Jurassic Park like original
Yeah.
one is kind of like
And like not
suspenseful. Like, oh gosh,
Yeah.
there's a monster out there that's gonna eat me. I
and like
mean,
not
but
to
like
go
it's not
into
really.
like because we wanted to make this Western, but to go into Eastern horror movies, Japanese horror movies, Korean horror movies, so much more. Like I don't know what it is. There's different mindsets to it. I think they're far much more disturbing. Even like a lot of European horror films, like so
oh please!
disturbing.
I mean, snuff films.
Not even snuff. Don't go that like Dan. I'm not
I'm
going
just
snuff
saying,
films right now.
Europeans, man,
Look,
they're
But
weird.
they also make actual like
Actual
horror movies. They
Alright.
do have they make
Not
horror movies and a lot of them are
Abominations.
a lot. Oh my god!
It's
there's a
time
lot-
to
I mean,
move on before we're off the rails with that.
before I'm talking
We
about
can
snuff.
stop.
Speaking of watching
Hey, I'm not the
things-
one that brought up snuff films.
Oh boy.
Hey, I'm sorry. You were talking about weird Europeans.
Okay,
and
all
I
right.
just had to
Okay,
God
throw
Dan.
damn it, Dan. All right,
You can
Dan,
edit it
come
out.
on.
I'm
Get on
sorry. That was the first time. We've been 2 hours in, and I only said one bad thing. It's not bad.
And
Okay,
that bad
all
thing
right.
was bringing up snuff films.
I mean,
Yeah.
Moving
Moving on,
on.
please.
Moving
Move on,
on.
Dan.
Moving
Dan,
on.
let's
Talk
go
about
into
the
something more
opposite
light
so
more,
in the
Dan.
complete opposite sense of horror films, I like American sitcoms because they're the complete opposite. where I can just enjoy a dumb story where I feel smarter about myself. Because no one could be that dumb, and they do it, and that's why it's funny. The two shows that I watched most recently, and I think they're just all around enjoyable, are, of course, Brooklyn Nine-Nine and Parks and Rec, and it's just that typical SNL, just like stupid, enjoyable situations where you can't just help but laugh, and a lot of it's just improv that just gets thrown in. I mean, like, Parks and Rec, try writing a script, it's hard. They just give them a character and they say, we'll just roll the cameras and see how it goes.
Can I just say that Chris Pratt plus Aubrey Plaza is like one of the greatest comedy pairings of our modern era.
Ben, though.
It's
Ben
so
is
good.
plus Ben. That's what makes it so
That's
funny.
true. That's true. But Chris Pratt is.
Oh, he's great.
legend.
I mean, they all have their tropes, and that's what sitcoms are. I mean, like, I think back to, like, Friends. Like, I remember watching that as a kiddie, and I could enjoy that, too. It's just, like, you get a trope, they play it, and they just act it out, and then see where it goes. I mean, there's no overarching story. You can watch an individual episode and just watch it. Yeah, there's a common theme, and things happen, but, like, you can just take an episode of 9-9 where it's just like, oh, there's a case that we have to solve, and they do stupid things, and it's just all around fun, and you don't really have to think, and that's why I kind of like it. It's whenever I feel like I just need a turn off and just need to just like vegetate in front of a TV, this is the kind of show I'd like to watch, because it's just dumb humor, and it's always fun. Any other sitcoms that you guys watched? Or
no,
never...
I will say American sitcoms are a genre of show that I've never liked, will never like, and I dislike.
Probably episodes of
I
The
dislike
Office.
everything about
I-
American
for me-
sitcoms.
oh my
I hate
God.
them so much.
Oh, I'm not.
I don't.
Office is very dry humor, which is enjoyable to a lot of people,
I've watched
but
the British one too.
I find
haven't. Oh, the British one is also pretty good.
the only sitcom
I've heard good
I've
things
ever
about it.
personally prefer. I prefer British humor. I prefer the British sitcoms. I love the IT Crowd, which is probably the last sitcom I've actually.
Oh,
watched.
yeah.
That's a fame.
IT
Oh,
Crowd
that's
is
so
IT Crowd
good.
is very good.
I've watched some episodes
Yeah,
of
that's
that.
very good. I don't like American sitcoms.
It's just the style of show and the style of humor that they are is not something I will ever
Yeah,
enjoy.
I'm not a big
ever.
fan.
I just do not. I don't.
I
I don't watch any of
And
them.
I had a bunch of friends that love The Office, which I think is part of the reason.
Yeah.
I
The
also
Office is its
hate
own
The Office.
like. Yeah, I haven't.
It's too
not
popular.
that too
It's too
popular,
popular.
but the fact that like I
Yeah, I know,
don't
I know.
like the
It's very
humor.
dry humor
And
as well.
also,
I don't
I've
really.
been exposed to so much of it because I had friends that loved it. So it's just like the thing of like if I had just never seen it the way I was not going to, I would be fine with it.
Oh, you know what? The closest thing to like a sitcom I've watched is I've watched like half a season of Schitt's Creek, and that's like really the only thing. Schitt's Creek's really, yeah. That's like the closest thing I've really watched to a sitcom. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah,
Oh my
it
gosh.
went on for a while. Yeah, we're spoiling Friends for people.
Oh, yeah,
Gosh,
we're
it's
spoiling
Friends.
2021,
Friends is so
you can't
old,
spoil
bro.
It's been out
Friends.
for 20 years.
Oh, it's so good. It's still a
Yeah,
thing.
it's still
People
good.
still watch it. It's timeless. I mean,
It's still objectively good. So,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's that mildly offensive humor that gets me, I guess, as I'm kind of a bad person, but that's okay.
I mean, that's fair. The one that I haven't watched that I wouldn't. I'm surprised I haven't because it seems like a me show is It's Always Sunny.
Yeah, I
I feel
haven't.
like I
need
should have
to watch-
watched
I
it
should
because
watch
it's like
I
in
haven't.
that
I don't know
realm,
why
and I
haven't.
love Danny DeVito.
Probably because it's not on any streaming service that I own.
Yeah, that's true. What is it? HBO probably or something like that, or Hulu or something. I don't know. I don't use Hulu. Anyway, yeah, I feel like I should have watched it because I love Danny DeVito, and is it? That's what I said. It's on Hulu. But yeah, I feel like I should have watched it because it seems like my kind of humor. Danny DeVito coming out and being like, "I'm a trash man." It sounds like
Right up your
great.
alley.
right up my alley. But, you know, also there's an entire scene where one of the main characters is gay and they have to do this thing where they have to oh, it was really weird. I don't even know what it is. But he gets into a situation where he's going to have sex with a woman and he's like, "So we can't actually do this." And he has to like get around it, and it's very funny. I've seen that scene. But yeah, what's it called? It's good. I should watch it, but I have not. But yeah. Anyway, moving on.
Is
it my turn now?
It is your turn.
Maria's
yeah.
very
Somehow this
connected
is-
to this.
We have been very invested. We've been talking
We've
about this
become
for
so
3
invested in
weeks?
this. Really.
A month.
Almost
Literally
a
a month.
Yeah.
So I'm going to start off really broad and then be specific after. So I'm going to be talking about specifically Twitch.television. So I watch a lot of Twitch. I've watched Twitch for the past like 8 years or something like that probably. I've watched Twitch longer than I've done a lot of things. So I'm going to let you guys know, audience, that I, whenever record, have to consciously not use Twitch emotes in my general speech. Because I think
You're a
everyone in this
degenerate,
call
that's
can
why.
attest that I definitely
do
just say
that.
pog
You
You just say
and
pog.
roll
You
W and sag in my actual speech,
Yeah.
and I attempt to not to do that. So for this segment, I'm going to not do that, so we can be as cringe as possible.
no.
Lol W.
Oh God.
Omega lol.
Oh, no.
All right. So specifically, we're gonna talk about my favorite streamer, which is Ludwig Anders Ogren. He's amazing. I love Ludwig. He's currently the most subscribed to Twitch channel, so it's like, haha, he's very popular. But he wasn't always. He was so he started out playing Smash, which is how I knew about him. And I actually met him before he like started streaming. When I went to a Melee tournament in Boston, in like 2018, I think it was. So he was like, I think had like 300 to 500 viewers or something like that. And I was like still watching him. So I'm a 3-year sub to Ludwig, which is kind of crazy because he's only really blown up in the past year. But yeah, I've loved his content since 7 Reasons. Ludwig is my favorite Twitch streamer. When that video came out, I remember when that came out, and it was amazing. I watched him literally speedrun Mario Party 3.
Mario Party
that's when I
3.
first started watching him. So,
What?
which is like 3 years ago. That was what he was doing a long time ago. He also had a stream where he was attempting to get like 1,000 follows on Twitch, like 1,000 followers on Twitch, and he was playing Getting Over It and was topless, drinking as much alcohol as he could, and that was like his thing. And he was like blackout drunk, attempting to play Getting Over It to get 1,000 followers on Twitch. So I remember that stream. So I've been watching him for a while. Anyway, right now he is doing probably the stream of his life.
Yes.
I'm gonna assume.
It might be. It'll probably
It'll
be over by the
when
time. This will be
comes
over by
out.
the time this comes
Yeah.
out.
It will be
Hopefully,
It will
because
be
it's
over.
what, day
over. It will
27?
be over.
Isn't it? Isn't it over?
Because
in
that's
3
4 days.
It'll
Yeah,
be
definitely.
over.
It'll be over by then.
If not, something
but
terrible
what's it called?
has happened.
Something terrible has happened.
If it's not over, please be
So,
over.
I just realized if it's actually over by then, I have to be there at 3 a.m. to watch the
Oh,
end
no.
of it. Please.
Oh no.
Oh no, I don't want to be there.
Then don't.
But I have
you
to
don't
be
have
there.
to.
I have to.
You
Yeah, I
don't
have to
have
be there.
to
So I'm
if
gonna
you
set
don't
an
want
alarm
to.
for 3 a.m. to wake up. No, I'm gonna
Okay.
do it. I have to set an alarm
Oh
for
my God.
2:50 to wake up so that I can be there when he ends stream. 'Cause that's a legendary moment. Anyway, I love Twitch and Maria, do you want to take over?
So, my connection to Ludwig is essentially, he graduated a year before me. He went to the same school system as me my whole life. And he probably most likely knew my cousin. Pretty highly sure he did. But yeah, literally grew up in the same area. I didn't know he was a popular Twitch streamer, essentially, until a friend from high school mentioned about it casually. She's like, whoa, this dude's from our high school's wicked poppy. I'm like, who the hell is it? She's like, it's Ludwig. I'm like, oh my god, really? How is this possible? How do we're not aware? I guess we're just not big Twitch nerds, clearly. But
That's why.
it
That's a
was
good
very
thing to
shocking. I was
be.
just like, what the fuck? fuck? Someone from my hometown is famous? What the fuck? Yeah, and I mentioned it too in like other Discords, and they're like, oh yeah, I know, I went to high school with this dude, and they're just like, what? And I'm like, oh god, he actually is that popular. Holy shit. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
and
think
it blew
he's
my mind.
currently like 30,000 subs away from beating Ninja for most subs of all time.
It's crazy.
I
Like,
think he's at like 230,000
oh
right
my
now,
god,
or something like
but
that.
like I have receipts. I have receipts because what Lucas mentioned about one of his story time episodes
yes.
where he talked about prom, and the photo they showed, I was just like, holy fucking shit, because I knew so many people in that photo. A
Yeah.
lot of them were people in my grade that I played sports with. Some of them I wasn't super close with any of them, but I knew a lot of them for years since they were like really young. Some of them were friendly with me. Others I thought were not as nice, but we'll leave it at that. But it was crazy because especially the one he talked about with Tina, you know, quote unquote Tina.
yeah.
Obviously, I mean, obviously, I'm not going to say her name, but I played freshman year basketball with her, so that's like how insane this is. And she was actually quite funny. She was quite a funny person too, I have to say. But yeah, I'm showing this to Lucas because I'm like, oh, I know where to get these photos.
Oh yeah, you
Thank you
definitely
Went on a Facebook dive.
showed him
went on
photos
Facebook and
Me and
stalked
Kayla
some
were just
people
also
and
there
found
that
stuff.
night, and it was a trip.
Went on a Facebook
Yes,
dive,
it was a
yeah.
time.
We
I saw
definitely
the
And
stalked
because of
some
that, I also
people's
ended up getting
Facebooks.
banned from the subreddit too. Because
Oh
of
yeah,
all
because we
this.
were trying to talk about it.
Yeah,
Or whatever.
but it's okay.
Um,
It's fine. I don't care either way because I feel like it's weird for me, someone like me, especially since I grew up with this person, to be like a
Yeah.
crazy fan of them. It's one thing if it's someone like, you know, like Lucas or someone else random that has no connection. It's like it's like that's the thing. I was never super close with this kid, but also like I knew him, so it feels weird to kind of be like, oh, let me be
A
a
simp
super
or
hard ass fan. But like honestly, good for him. Good for him. He's having this much success. And I also found a baby picture in the yearbook, his yearbook photos of
Oh,
him
yeah.
from when he played soccer. It's like crazy. So it's like, yeah, it's like insane to be like, oh wow, someone from my hometown actually is kind of relevant currently at this time in like the internet space, which is insane. But like, great for him,
Yeah.
honestly.
He's
Kudos
also
to him.
incredibly funny and nice, and like, you know, probably one of the most genuine content creators, I think.
Which I'm glad
out
that's the
there right now.
case. I'm glad
No,
that
he's
that's
like-
what the
I
representation
think
of
that's
Hollywood
why he
is.
became
Yeah.
so popular as well. They're like, finally, someone
Finally,
that's
an
funny
actually
and not
decent,
a really
funny human.
awful person.
Exactly.
Like, not a genuinely disgusting person, you know, that's popular.
And
you
no,
know.
I'm glad. I'm glad it's a good representation from my hometown. Honestly, that's the case. So good. Kudos, Ludwig. You're probably never gonna hear this, but
Probably
you know,
not. That's
kudos
fine.
to you, fam. Keep. I hope the success, you know, continues for you, and
Yeah.
keep.
I mean, he's
keep
probably
being a
pretty
good
set
human.
for.
I mean,
for a
after
while.
this stream
I
that
hope
he's
so.
doing, I mean, I think he's pretty set.
Yep.
Also, for reference, just so you guys know, he's at currently 17 minutes and 45
That means
He's
seconds.
nothing.
gonna finish. That
But,
means nothing.
We saw the stream at down to less
That
than
means
30
that's-
seconds last night.
We saw a stream go down to 1
It went
second.
to 1 second last night. Did you
I
hear
saw
about that? I
that.
said that. It went to 1 second, and someone gifted 5.
And
like
then it gives
at the
people time to keep
1
doing
second.
it, yeah.
It would have ended. It should have
But
ended.
here
If
we
it
are.
was, you know,
Like
the other
literally
one was,
a
it went
second
down to 6
like,
seconds.
too late where it didn't update or something like that.
Yeah, because there's stream delay, right?
Yep.
So if someone gifts like 10 subs, it takes like 20 seconds for it to show up on his end, or something like that, because it's like a huge
Aw,
stream delay.
damn.
So someone was like, "Oh, there's like 30 seconds left. Let me do it right now," and then it went down to like 1
And
second,
then it came in,
and
yeah.
then. So yeah, they went frame by frame, and it was like it was less than
Poor
a second
man.
left
Oh
when
my
it
God.
updated.
Good lord.
He's currently on day 27, but you know,
He's got to stop. He let the man.
he's been live for
let the
27
man
days
stop.
straight.
It's been live for a month. That's insane.
Yeah. So at 31 days, he's officially capping it because he's like,
So it will be
so-
done.
and then he's gonna take like
and now.
he will take 1 day off and then start streaming
Good
again.
lord.
Because
That
that is
was
just
his thing.
job.
So, but so yeah, he was like, he had a famous clip. It was like, someone was like, "What are you gonna do when the stream ends?" And he was like, "I'm gonna stop streaming, probably take a day off, and then stream." it's like, but here's
stream
the
will
key.
end.
I can turn it off when I'm done. I don't have to,
Sleep and
Sleep.
eat and
on stream while I'm live. The one thing that I think is actually amazing about this is that he has a bunch of mods who keep the stream alive while he's asleep. So he pays them nightly to basically play Jackbox / take care of media share. Like random people will pay to watch YouTube videos while he sleeps. Most of the time they're his own videos, which is kind of funny. But
that's crazy.
Yeah, he pays them, I think, percentage of how much he's making this whole thing. So they're making a lot of money too. So it's not just that he's just taking all of the money, and he's donating like a third of it to charity, I think.
That's good.
So he's like not actually getting. He talked about what the breakdown of how much he's making, because he's made already like he's doing the math, and he's making like 500 grand, like just from this, from donations, subs, and everything he's doing. He's made like 500 grand in like a month. So he's like, yeah, that's actually stupid. So he's paying his mods percentage per night. He's donating a bunch to charity, and he might be keeping like a seventh of it or something. Which is still a lot of money, but it's not compared to how much he makes every month anyway. It's like about the same. So he doesn't want to get any of this extra stuff from it. So
he doesn't need it, honestly.
He doesn't need it. Yeah. So he's like, yeah, this is just. I thought it would be funny to do like a 4 to 8 hour stream, but then it turned into this whole thing, and I don't need this money. I don't want it even. So he's giving out like 3/4 of it, or like he's not even keeping. So yeah, he's a genuinely awesome guy. I like him. He's pretty cool.
Go my hometown.
Woohoo.
Woohoo.
All right.
And then last but not least. Oh god, yeah. So my last thing is to talk about is some literary adaptations of books that I've read that I've loved. So a big thing about me is that I read a lot of books as a kid. Like I was super into reading. And like I for some reason I've also like really enjoyed like not only these books themselves, but also just the literary like the adaptations, like, you know, TVs and movies of them. In particular, I think the one that gave me the most whiplash was probably Watership Down, especially the old 1978 version. When I first saw it, I was just like, oh, this is like almost low-key horror and terrifying. But there's a recent update that's a little bit more neutral and calm. And there was also another more chill TV show from like the 90s, I think, that was pretty decent, of Watership Down. But I love that book. I have a special connection with that book. From a 6th grade teacher who got it for me. She was a great teacher. She even went to my like dance recital, and yeah, she found out recently about my work situation. She was just like, oh my god, tell him I'm so proud of her, and like whenever I get to teach again, I'm gonna brag about her to my kids and blah blah blah. And I'm like, oh my god. But she's a great woman. But yeah, some other stuff though, in particular like Little Women. Oh my god, last year, y'all know, back in like 2020, late 2020, I was obsessed with Little Women by Greta Gerwig, but also Little Women in general. She's a great book.
It's my
and all that
I
jazz.
remember your Discord name was like Florence Pugh for like a real long time.
Yes, I was like, Florence Pugh is my bitch, totally. And then I got another person on Discord.
Oh yes.
Yeah, no, our first QC tester. I won't say his name. Just so, but he knows who he is. He was also a Florence, but Midsommar Florence Pugh. She was also fantastic in that film. And then we got a couple other people to be other Florence Pugh.
Yeah, excited for Black
That was
Widow.
when I first joined the Discord, and I was very confused for a while. I was like, why are there like 4 of them?
I'm sorry I confused you. Yes, it was like a mini Florence Pugh cult. It was great though. But honestly, Little Women in general, that was like a great adaptation and nice revamp. I really enjoyed that one. Pride and Prejudice. So recently, I don't know if I told you guys, but I actually watched the BBC 6
Oh,
recently.
it's so
like, that's really good.
Colin
It's
Firth
so
is hot
good.
when he's wet.
Dude, what?
That was
He's
a comment.
hot when he's not wet. What are you talking about?
What are you talking about? You're saying he's not hot all the time?
No,
only
Come on.
specifically
when
when
he
he's
goes
wet.
swimming in the water and it comes out the water and he's like, oh my god, he looks so hot.
It was. I love that.
I'm like, I
my
can
mom and
see
I have watched
Elizabeth.
that so many times.
Also,
together.
Dude,
Elizabeth,
I feel like
the person who plays Elizabeth in the
She's
BBC
great.
miniseries, she has the best like what the fuck faces, just like judging faces. I'm like, yes, I love
Jane
them.
Austen is a staple.
Jane Austen's great. And also I have a lot of personal feelings towards the 2005 film with Keira Knightley, See a Trend, Black Pearl.
I haven't seen that one, honestly.
Yeah, that one I love that one. I love that one so much. I love the music to that one. It's one of my favorite scores ever in film. Who the guy who plays President Snow, Donald Sutherland, he's in this film as like the dad.
He's good.
Yeah, he's great in this film as well. I love that film. And then probably the one book series that had the biggest impact on me, Redwall. The Redwall series.
I read the original book.
Oh my god.
That's it.
I absolutely love the series to death. This was my childhood series. Like, move the fuck over Harry Potter. Not that it sucked, but move the fuck over Harry Potter. Redwall was my bitch. Whenever I still remember in Toadstool bookstores, when I first was recommended it, I got Redwall and Mossflower, and I just became hooked ever since then. Oh my god, I just love this, and I loved it so much that I ended up from an old friend. Her brother had recorded them on VHS tapes, and I remember getting those tapes and watching the series.
It's very different
animated series.
than the books,
yeah,
but it's still pretty good.
It is, especially Martin the Warrior. I think they took some liberties for that one, but I still remember watching that and just being like in awe and just, yeah, I want to give some shout outs. R.I.P. Brian Jakes, he died back in 2011. Rip dude, a legend. I wish I got to meet. There's one guy I wish I got to meet was him, because I'm like, you're such an influential author. But favorite books I want to say from the series, for sure, Redwall and Mossflower. Matsumayo, I absolutely love Matsumayo a lot. Martin the Warrior is probably arguably the technically best written story. You could argue that. What else did I really love?
What's the one, the Badger one?
Oh, the Lawn Patrol I loved a lot. Moral Fox I loved a lot. Tagaron, Triss. Yeah, I would say those guys. I own them all. I own every single one, all 22 of them that were ever released. I own them all. They're not with me currently in my apartment, but I own all of them. Yeah, but yeah, I have a few of them here. I have oh my god, yeah, I have Matsumayo, Redwall, Mossflower, Martin, Lord Brocktree. Lord Brocktree's a good one too. Pearls of Lutra, Marielle of Redwall. Like, yeah, these are like, that's just the one book series of those books I'm just never gonna get rid of. Period. Like, I will find a way to save them and store them somewhere. Like, those are my books. Those are my series. Like, I hope I can someday. Okay. And I was such a nerd that in my 5th grade class, my 5th grade teacher had a lot of the books there, that I took it upon myself to make a list of the series in its chronological order, story-wise, and its release date order at the time, because this was back in 2007, so not all the books were released yet. But at the time, what was in the class of, I made a list and put it on like by the bookshelf there.
Nice.
And she was fine with it, and I was just like such a little dweeb about it. Like, oh my god, yeah, I fucking love this series, and I also am proud to say I've deciphered most of Mole Speak. I think I was proud of myself that I was able to figure out what the hell they were saying, because the way he writes them is like in a what you imagine they would say it. He like writes it in like a fucked up kind of speech way. So it's oh god, it's just animals with swords and shields and just fighting things. It's great.
It's cool to take big problems and like make them all miniature. Essentially, it was really well done.
I just love that book series. I just have I feel like it doesn't get talked quite as much as it should, but yeah, it's an icon of our times. In my opinion.
Lore's good.
But yeah. Yay, and I guess that's it,
That's
probably, right?
I think we're done.
Yeah. That was a lot of tangents involved in this episode, and a lot of just like childhood stories as well.
That's what
that's what makes, we're all born in the West, so
yeah.
Gotta love it.
Best things we enjoyed are things that we experienced first.
In childhood.
Before K-pop ruined it
took
all.
over everyone's lives, and
Yep.
Yeah.
Before that's the main media we consume. Now.
Dota is still prevalent.
Okay, well
Just a little bit.
that's only you.
I enter like 2 fighting games a month, but that's
Mm-hmm.
about it. 2 fighting game tournaments.
And I still watch a lot of
That's
true
True
crime.
crime.
Honey, I still plan on what I'm gonna read Redwall at some point. I'm still playing video games, and I'm still watching.
I
some
found
Disney
you just
movies
gotta
when
start
I'm
if you really want to read.
Just gotta start.
I just
That
gotta
was
do
the
it.
hardest thing for me. I went a huge phase of my life just no reading, and then I just decided I need to read. And
Same. That was my opinion
and then
too. It's
the only way to do it is to just literally start picking up a book, and then you just make a habit, and now it's a habit. So I've been enjoying it.
man.
But yes, this has been our very special anniversary episode.
Woot woot.
Which-
Yay.
Woot
Which
woot.
was very fun, and the only time I think we're ever bringing back this like quarter podcast format ever, because they take literally
Probably.
forever, and everyone does not like it.
Keep this in because we've been doing this for two
I am
and a
way
half
past my
hours and I'm
bedtime.
exhausted.
I'm exhausted. It's not
Yeah.
even as long as some of our quarter podcasts have gone, but I'm like literally I'm exhausted.
no.
It's been a
It's
been
not
a
even.
time.
We've podcasted for longer on a specific topic, but somehow I'm exhausted.
Somehow
Yeah.
this is more exhausting. Maybe it's the Western
big
media
bedtime.
that does it.
Yeah,
Probably.
maybe that's why we're not into
Western
Western
We're very
media.
passionate.
This is why we're not
It
into
makes
Western
us.
media. It's exhausting.
We're very passionate. Yeah.
Thank you everyone for listening. And if there's, I don't even know who else is out there who has been with us for our past whole year of podcasting, but anyone who has been a listener for the past year, thank you for liking our content and coming back. I don't know who out there is doing that, but to all of you who are doing that, thank you. As always, if you're listening to us on podcasting platforms, we also have a YouTube channel where we post all of our episodes along with fun clip videos. And if you're listening to us on YouTube, we have our podcasts available on essentially all the major podcasting platforms. And we also have a Twitter and an Instagram, both of which not very active, but they're linked in the descriptions of every episode if you want to follow us on either of those places. But yeah. This has been our favorite Western media episode, and we will see you guys next time. Bye.
Bye, y'all.
Bye.
Take care.
Bye.